Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a very special day. We are finally here after a month of qualifiers, the Trio Finals Element Fusion Tournament, $1,500 on the line provided by Proletariat, and I am here with my man OSK. How you doing today, my friend?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. It's such a special day today. I had to get all dressed up. You're looking spiffy as well, my friend. And we got to break down this nice little prize pool sponsored by Proletariat. Big thanks to that team over there. But we do have our breakdown of the prize pool here. $750 going to go to the first place finisher today, $250 among the teammates. And we got $500 going to second place and $250 going to third place. It's going to be a very, very exciting time. This is based on all the scores that came from our 8 qualifiers that we were holding up. And I do have to go through these teams real quick because we do have some of the best talent in the world for Spellbreak. So let's get started here. The first one going to be headed at you is going to be Untiered. It's going to be breaking down with Kamsky, T-Foul, Elpadog. Following up, we have next to Linnade, going to be Borsellino next in Syncade. I am QT, going to be the Darkbreakers, Marcus aka Apostle, and Q Kuzi. That's Plapacuzzi, those of you who aren't familiar with Q. And then we have G3. That's going to be formerly known as Dark Horse. That's going to be Player 2, Chaos, and Megaverse. A little bit of a team name change there. As well as Thunder Thighs, we got Doc, we got Milzy42, and we got Moktola. And our final 5 plays, I'll let you take it away from here.
Yeah, rounding us out today, we got Team Haunt as well with Death, Phoenix, who is subbing in for Cloud, and Rush Frog. Following up, we got Seaside with Cursed, Casper, Blindside. Then we got Wind Goes Burr on the EU squad with Very Crisp, Ashen Frost, It's Just Wolf. Another EU team with CNT, Dorky, Nigel, and Nemo, 3 legends in the community coming out. And finally, we got Team Kinda Weird, aka KW, more so known in the community, with Gigabyte, Camsucks, and Blank. We got a full roster of great teams here today. OSK, can you give me any predictions before we get started in game 1?
Now, we were talking just a little bit before this production, and I think we both agree it's going to be very interesting to see how Team Untiered is going to fare in this more stacked event here. The first event that they had, we didn't have so many big teams in that one, and they just ran away with it with over 4,000 points. Never happened before in an element event, so it'll be interesting to see how they go. But that being said, they were very, very dominant in that first game, again, setting a record for elements, so obvious favorite there. But I'm going to also be looking at Team G3 here, Team Dark Horse, as they're formerly named. We got a bunch of great solo players that are both individually known for their skill. Player 2, Chaos, and Megaverse. Those 3 names just in particular, just by themselves, they're enough to put a lot of fear into some of these solo lobbies. So it's going to be very interesting to see, because that first event that they were together, they didn't have a whole lot of team coordination, but they've had some time. They've had 2 weeks to kind of tie that in. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if that coordination is going to bubble up to the top and make it to that top finish. Now, I do believe that you have 2 predictions, but one I also want to keep an eye on here. You got to keep an eye on Wind Goes Burr as well. That's going to be my pocket pick aside from my top 2. They did have Doc filling in on that time that they did qualify, but the team coordination is always there between Wolf, Ashen Frost, and Very Crisp, and it's going to be no different. They're rocking a little bit of a different build with Foresight, usually is what they run, and we've seen time and time again, it works very, very well for them. So let's get into your predictions, Mr. Play.
Yeah. I mean, you got your top 2 teams as NA, as you said. Untiered is always going to be a threat in these competitive tournaments. I feel like every time I watch them play competitive, they are, as you said, just rolling the lobby. This is a much more competitive set of teams, but we'll see how they fare. I do have my eyes on next Linnade, though, and that is next. As you said, it's next, Borsellino, and Syncade. Those are 3 fantastic individual players. I know Next and Borsellino have been playing a lot of scrims together, as well as in these events themselves. I'm looking at them to maybe make a pop-off performance here. The games are split on NA and EU, so they have an equal shot, just like everybody else, to have an insane set of games. And I would really love to see them take home that top $750.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big prize pool, too. The biggest prize pool that Element has had so far, again, with some help from the game devs themselves, Proletariat. It's always nice when we get some outreach and, of course, getting these higher quality events out to you here. course, it is going to be interesting to see how these players are going to drop in. You know, we have 30 players going to be dropping all into the HoloLands, and they each kind of have their own signature places that they like going to. I know that team G3 with player 2, when he was formerly playing for SDK, they did like to drop near Dust Pool. Same thing with Kind of Weird. They also like to drop Dust Pool. So expect some early fights coming into game 1 here pretty soon. We are getting into that lobby very soon for you guys. But you also have to imagine, I would bet that Untiered is going to be looking at that Fort Halcyon drop, and you have to think who is going to be the one to contest that drop. Who is going to be the one to stick their necks out and say, hey, we better take control of this early on, because if we don't, then we might have a little bit of a runaway on our hands.
I mean, honestly, though, I do think there's a high chance that a lot of these teams just concede Fort Halcyon. It's not exactly the most stacked area for loot. It does have great stuff, but to be in the center of the map, and like you said, to take that risk of fighting them early, that is team untiered, it is maybe not something you want to do in game 1 and game 2. It is such a high volatility play. We'll see if anybody takes the risk, but I'm more looking to see how these teams adjust their drops. We all know that these teams practice together. They have these set drops, as you said, but I want to see if there's teams that are able to adjust mid-tournament, at halftime, maybe make an adjustment on their play. That is what I'm looking for in terms of these top high-level squads, as well as just the team coordination. And we talk about it every single week. But when you are watching these games and you're watching these players, you can almost hear them making the calls to each other, choosing targets to burst down. That's the most satisfying thing about trio events, in my opinion, and I'm excited to see some of that today.
Absolutely. And we saw a lot of what we call power position plays coming out from qualifier, I believe 6 through 8. People are really starting to wake up to, hey, if I take this tower, if I take this mountain, that gives me so much vision, that gives me so much control over the pace of the game, that I can literally just stay right here, kind of poke from afar, and I have all the freedom to, engage the enemy if I want to. And it's a very, very sound strategy, as we've seen. And that's kind of been evolving over this event as well. A lot of players didn't really do that as much in the very beginning, but now that we have more competitive teams, this positioning play, as we've known to call it, is going to be a much more important coming into this highly competitive event. And it's also going to be interesting to see how these builds sort of adjust themselves. I know just starting off, we had your basic frontliner with Stone Shaper, you had your flex with Toxicologist, and you had your backline with Conduit. But we've seen a lot of variety come out from the past few days, or the past few weeks, rather. We've seen Wind Goes Burr make very, very good use of Tempest on Ashen Frost, along with Frostborn from some of our other players here as well. Like, some of these classes that you wouldn't normally see in the trios environment are really starting to show themselves, and it just goes to show how much variety that there can be in these competitive events. It's going to be interesting to see who brings out what and how good they can make use out of it.
Yeah, for sure. But I do think, other than the classes and all these technical breakdowns we can pull out, I think this tournament could just come down to one full pop-off performance. We've seen in some of the qualifiers in the past how close the dividend is between first, second, and third. I would love to see it really just come down to one player or one squad dropping a 10 bomb to push them up towards the top. That is the most exciting it can get in these trio events. And I do think, due to how talented all of these teams are, there's a chance that we get those types of matches today, OSK.
Yeah, definitely. There's a big chance. And that brings up another point too. Now that we finally have a big prize pool that players are playing for, yeah, you can go try to get the $30 during your particular qualifier to finish first. But now, if you're in top 3, you're earning some decent money. Okay. First place gets $750. That's $250 between you and your friends. And that's also second place getting $500, third place getting $250. It's not like it's a small amount of money. Like, it is comparatively to other games tournaments, but like for us, you're finally playing for some big ticket dollars. So it'll be interesting to see how play styles kind of adjust. Are players going to be playing a little bit safer? Are they going to be going for that pop-off play? Like, who knows? It's all going to come down to who can handle their nerves best, and how much confidence they have in their own play to take it. We'll have to see if they are going to play aggressive, if they are going to play for placement. We don't know yet. We're going to have to see who really steps up to the table.
Yes, certainly. And as people roll into the chat, if you guys want to keep updated on how these teams are doing game by game, press ! scores like you're seeing Joshua do in the chat right there. You can pull up the spreadsheet and keep track of all of this as it comes. But yeah, that's a great point you bring up. There's all sorts of different types of play, and they all have to deal with the pressure of the moment. The way that you take on these types of fights, and in a BR especially, when it might come down to that 3v3, that final moment to decide some of these big cash prizes, that's a lot of pressure to put on these players, and we'll see who can handle it. But here we are with game 1, and we are looking at Team KW aka Team Kinda Weird, as they just take a slow loot right here.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a little bit of a slow loot indeed. But we have Cam Sucks here. That's going to be Cam as 1 HP on your screen there. Just kind of taking the lead with Team Kinda Weird. Going to be rotating out towards the Hemwood area. But looks like we have a little bit of early action from Team CNT. This is Nemo, Nigel, and Dworky already in the middle of a big engagement in the Bogmore area. Let's see what they can do with this. They are rocking the Stone Shaper, the Pyromancer, and the Conduit. So no Toxicologist from what they're normally known for. We'll have to see how that works out for them. But so far, Nemo having to retreat a little bit. He does have the Vigor, Dexterity, and Recovery build working out pretty well for him. He's definitely going to be the main frontliner if he can make himself to the front of this engagement. But so far, looking to reset. Maybe take a little bit of a more dominant position. We do see the ping coming out on the other side of that Bogmore area. Maybe looking to just sort of rotate off to a better looting area. They are a little bit wanting, especially Nigel, for his belt. So maybe just disengage for now and come back when they're stronger.
And a slow start indeed, but looking at the kill feed, we see Rushfrog and Elpadog both getting kills onto different players. 37 people still left in the game, so no exiles have gone down quite yet other than the production team. But we're looking at CNT make that rotation. The other team definitely backed off completely of that fight, did not want to take that early engage against CNT. Obviously, they did not know it was them, but that was not optimal for the other squad. So we'll see what comes out of this action. Maybe get a bounce around the map as we see Tfal on Conduit also get a drop onto Adam to bomb number 1. And this looks like definitely a slow start, though, in game 1. So the prediction about these teams maybe wanting to just establish their loot, establish their drops before taking a full engagement might have been true here.
Yeah, definitely. You have to think, man, what is the play from Tfal's new name change? Is he trying to put the fear into people's heads? Like, is he trying to say, hey, I'm playing Conduit today. You guys better be scared because you know how good I am on that class. Maybe he mixes it up and actually plays a Toxicologist. Who knows? The mind games are out. We'll have to see how that works. We can already see Phoenix not keeping to his name theme on the Toxicologist there. So he is definitely playing some mind games today, but also just rotating out a little bit south of the Ruby Grove area, just trying to get to this more dominant position of the mountain, get a little bit of eyes on this eastern part of the map, especially towards this mana vault there to their northern side. Looks like Phoenix will be fed the knowledge potion already. Going to be trying to get that up there. Just stare at it long enough. There you go. Go ahead and sip it up when you are able and then get some of that damage out. But so far, nothing really doing. Players are kind of going on the safer side today. Not much action. Maybe we'll wait until the mid game before everything starts to open up. But so far, they're just kind of handshaking, saying, hey, I'm not at my best right now. We're not at our power spikes just yet. Let's go ahead and wait till we get our gear, and then we'll show you what we're made of.
It is just a stall on the action, though, OSK. If these teams want to play so far back and they want to play for the loot, then we're going to see an insane fight once the circle forces them to get together. You cannot avoid everybody forever. The fights do have to come out eventually. We're now looking at Team G3. Megaverse is holding the camera with that Scav as well, rocking that with the Stone Shaper. Going to be hard to take him down if you can start triggering some exiles. He's taken this little high ground spot, waiting for somebody to maybe come to them. Looks like G3 is just taking territory here and waiting for other players.
Yeah, this team right here, G3, they've always done a great job of taking power positions. Player 2 individually has done very, very well at taking power positions, just on every team he's been in and in solos. We see it in scrims, we see it in these qualifiers, and it's no different today. They're going to be looking to hold down this mountain for as long as possible, maybe taking a few shots at some of these players coming out of the northern area from Dustpool, maybe some Gritfeld as well. But actually, looks like they're going to be rotating out, it seems, to more the southern area. They might even run into Haunt eventually if they end up looping around towards the northeastern side from Lowland. I would have to imagine that's where they're going due to the loot density. But so far, G3 Megaverse just keeping an eye on the Halcyon area. He knows players like to drop there quite frequently, even in competitive events. And look at this. They're still just trying to keep as many eyes on as much ground as possible. Have to imagine that as the zone is going to be closing in, looks like it did end up closing on the Stone Tooth Mountain area. There is going to be plenty of action to come, and there's already a red ping coming out. Looks like they do have a little bit of a target spotted out. And actually, Megaverse, a little bit off of the normal build that he normally runs. Usually Focus Mana, Fervor, and Recovery is the play, but now we have a little bit of a movement variant here with Scavenging. So interesting to see all the different variants that he comes out. Maybe he'll change it up later on, but a little bit different for him today.
Yeah, he could be predicting a very chaotic final circle with that scavenging choice. And it looks like if he was making that prediction, he would be right. There's still 36 players, not a single squad wipe so far, as you see G3 just popping some shots with the Frost deep out there. Nothing happening though, as G3 Megaverse is going to take some steps back, dodge out of the way of that Frost unintentionally, and wait for more to come. But OSK, such a slow start in game one. This definitely shows that these teams are consciously trying to snipe for that money. They do not want to risk taking an early loss in game one or two. They want to make sure that they are setting themselves up for success. And that looks to be the result of some slow play. But now we get over to Thunder Thighs. Moktola 1 is in a bit of danger, has a Wolf's Blood as well. You got to think that he might not be too happy with that, as his team is going to make the call to move out of this one.
Yeah, it seems that is the case there, and no real true backline on their team either. So they're either all aggressive or they're all retreating at this point. Maybe we'll be looking at their other teammate here, Millsy, to get a little bit of action from the backline, given the flex pick. But we'll have to see how it plays out, as they are in a little bit of an engagement here. Gonna have to keep eyes out for a third party. You know that's gonna be the always present danger. And look at that, exactly as I say it, here comes the third party themselves. It's exactly what they wanted to avoid, and this is why teams are so passive in the early game. Plenty of opportunity for someone to swoop in and ruin your day, but it looks like they've successfully gotten on the outside part of this fight. Looks like they'll be directing that third party, directing the energy into their opponents. And as I say that, looks like I've been proven wrong, especially as Moktola gonna go down to Gigabyte. This is team Kinda Weird collapsing onto Thunder Thighs. It's already one member down, about to be two with Doc there. It will be mostly Millsy keeping it down, and yes, he is the one remaining member. Gonna have to back up, gonna have to retreat, gonna have to do something, or they're completely out, and that is gonna be Kinda Weird taking out Thunder Thighs.
And that is first blood in the tournament. KW takes the first squad wipe of the event. They made a very nice choice to just push into the storm there. Looks like they aren't going to get any form of third party, which is nice for them. They can just take this loot, calm down a little bit, and wait to move through to the next zone. Looking at this as well, Gigabyte already has focused mana fully stacked, and we're getting over to Very Crisp with Wind Goes Burr. Tons of people in chat were hyping up Wind Goes Burr. We'll see if they can make them proud. Very Crisp throwing out the lightning bolts from deep, but can't get any to quite land. His teammate Ashenfrost is rocking the Tempest that he is oh so known for, but looks like this other squad just completely is disengaging, and this is going to be a constant trend in today's games. These teams are picking their fights so carefully, OSK.
Yeah, and especially with Very Crisp build, he does have the ability to pick them indeed very, very carefully. That foresight giving him so much vision as to the surrounding teams. It's almost like, as we were saying, the anti-third party talent. You want to be having a much bigger mini-map like Crisp likes to do. Gives you plenty of vision in the area around you to sort of make a safe rotation. In fact, that might be what he's doing right here. He might have just seen a team collapse from the northern side from Stonetooth. That might be Team G3, as we saw earlier, and he's just looking for a bit of a safer rotation into the later game. Plenty of opportunity to poke down with that conduit build as well, and Ashenfrost on the Tempest. You know that they're going to be farming up that damage as they normally do. Wolf on a bit of a Pyromancer game here, a little bit different from what we normally see from him. Usually either rocks Toxicologist or Frostborn, but proving that he can flex into other classes if he so chooses. So interesting to see how this will play out for them. But we are going to go ahead and hop on over to Team Untiered here. Looks like Elpa already has a bit of an exile for himself there. Is playing the true front line, and this is the tried and true build here. We do have Stone Shaper on the front line. We do have Kamsky on that flex pick with Toxicologist, as he's known for. And we have T-Foul on Conduit. Look at this, on Conduit. The name was not a mind game. It was just all saying, hey, I'm out here, I'm on Lightning, do what you can. It's not going to be much.
And look at all of these frost shots coming in at Team UT as they post up on the tower. Elpadog manages not to get touched by a single one, and they're doing such a great job of just maneuvering this land and making sure they don't take damage while they trade. Unfortunately, they are going to have to make the call to back off here. Looking at the kill feed, though, Dwerky gets a couple drops. Casper goes down as well to somebody in streamer mode, and it's just like that, OSK. The lobby is starting to break down. The fight at Halcyon is going to involve multiple squads here. Elpadog holding that boulder to get a bit more momentum, throws it down into the crevice now, doesn't quite get it to go, but takes another spring step. Nice quick mechanics from Elpadog. We are so used to seeing those twitch movements on that Stone Shaper from him.
Yeah, and he's so good at doing that as well. He is rocking exactly what Megaverse was rocking a little bit earlier on in the day here. He is going for that high mobility variant with the scavenging. Maybe he's looking to farm up a lot of exiles, but so far only sitting with one. We'll have to see how that plays out for him. But so far, it looks like they're going to opt to play this very passively. They are kind of caught in between two teams from what I saw. So just not really wanting to full commit off to this engagement here. Don't really need to either. They do have the dominant position right here. They don't really have to give up any ground. You can see from the minimap there that they are well within the zone here, and the other teams have to rotate into them from the eastern side. So they are going to come at this with a bit of an advantage. The other team's going to have to burn rune charges. They're going to have to burn mana. They're going to have to burn positioning as well to get to where they are. And this is going to be a big opportunity for them to really go off. And you can see, look at Kamsky already farming up the cabbages with the frozen toxic clouds, just making a bit of a platform, bit of a volatile one as well. Gonna have to be careful of any fire coming in, but so far, not really much happening right now. Just a little bit of poke break, not really much in the way of big fights.
Yeah, definitely a bit of poke coming down, but these teams are starting some scraps. You see now, Wind goes Burr, Ashencroft on the Tempest, but look at that damage coming from the Conduit Sorcery. Has to back off now, and Very Crisp is low as well. Wolf is the only teammate with some HP to spare, but it's quickly going. Very Crisp does get disrupted by Kamsky, and now we see Ashencroft trying to do what he can in this fight, but he's also going to get bursted down. Multiple players will start jumping on him as Wolf falls. This should be a full wipe for Team G3 in the kill feed, as well as the team that we're seeing fight in front of us. But look at this. Ashencroft might get a red ball. What a clean, quick decision. If he can pick up both teammates through the storm, this is game-changing for Wind Goes Bird.
Absolutely, and you see the zone has stopped. They have 15 seconds to rotate off to that next zone, and this next one after this final rotation is going to be huge damage on their health, so definitely need to be able to rotate off. Looks like they're going to get all members up. That's going to be Crisp immediately going down. That's T-Pal on Conduit, indeed on Conduit. Going to go ahead and shock him down. That's going to be Wolf going down as well, and Ashenfrost is just left out to dry here, having to rotate off, completely switch up his positioning. I don't think there's any saving his teammates at this point. This might just be it. There's a thirst coming out from Elpadog onto Very Crisp. You have to imagine Wolf is going to be the next one on the chopping block. Ashenfrost having to play the zone for right now. No health potions though, so we'll need to full commit, and looks like this will be the case. The updraft coming out, looking for any kind of evasion that he can get out, but it's going to be very, very difficult. Switching on over to Elpadog here. We do see in the kill feed that that's going to be a little bit of a troll team there. T-Foul and Kamsky, not the actual players, are going to go ahead and go down both to Elpadog. Now we have Team UT rotating out towards this front wall of Halcyon on the southern side, just looking to kind of farm up. This is Ashenfrost most definitely in the sky right there, trying to get a little bit of damage off, and that's going to be IMQT taking out Chartizan. That's going to be, looks like Death taking out yet another target. Lots of disruptions, lots of action, and G3 with a nice squad wipe.
Yeah, but this is also where UT excels, in my opinion, in these scrappy, chaotic fights. They are so good at keeping themselves leveled. You see Kamsky take down Kuzi, and now player 2 falls to Kamsky as well. Kamsky's on a tear here in game 1. Chaos has to try to respond now, but the firewall comes down. He is getting bursted by multiple members of UT, and that looks like G3 might just fall here. We might be left with a 3v3 situation. Chaos is the only one left for his team, and he does go. UT takes it on, and now we should have a 3v3 fight here. Looking at it, we got Darkbreakers and Kuzi, and I believe Ashencross should actually still be in the game hiding somewhere, so it's a 2v1v3 as Darkbreakers goes up. He's on his patented build with the Stone in the Wind, jumping on the backside now. Look at the damage, so close to getting this one down. Elpadog will fall, and that one goes to Darkbreaker's squad. I believe he is representing IMQT with Marcus, aka Apostle, and KQZ. What a game and what a turnaround from the two last players on that squad.
Man, what a late game that was. You saw IMQT just kind of hang out in the wings saying, hey, we can just poke you down. We can do whatever we want. They had 2 full teammates up at the very end, doing a great job of staying out of that immediate action and then swooping in when everyone is distracted. That's a very, very solid strategy. We've seen it work time and time again, and it's proven that it works against even UT. So that's IMQT going to take first place in the game 1. We still got 7 more to go. And again, we'll be taking the best 6 out of 8, just like normal from our regular qualifiers. So that's a nice little pop-up performance from IMQT. Definitely a lot of exiles going to the way of UT as well, and G3. There's really a lot of score to go around here between all these teams. Very, very close are the placements going to be. So we'll have to see who's going to step up to the challenge and really fight for that $750 for first place. But man, what a game 1 to open us up.
Yeah, way to go for Darkbreakers right there. I mean, we were watching his perspective as he cleans up that fight. I know Kuzi was doing work as well on the back line, but Darkbreakers just so good with that Stone Shaper Wind offhand build. He has made a lane for himself in competitive with this build, not just because of the build, he's also a talented player, but to see him just know the limits, play within them, and smash it out to take game one. Like you said, though, the scores are still even. That was not a runaway game. I believe UT put up almost even more score than IMQT due to the exiles and damage. We'll see how this all lays out. And remember to hit exclamation mark scores in the chat so you guys can keep up with all these teams. We are live updating the scores as they come in. So you guys will see that graph slowly start to shape up. You'll see how the teams start placing. OSK, my heart is racing, and we are only done game one here.
I know, man. The suit's getting pretty hot for myself as well. And we got 7 more to go. It's going to be a great day of Spellbreak. I can tell you right now. And that this is really just the story of how we're coming into this. We have all these teams that are so used to just farming lobbies. They're so used to just going in with all the confidence in the world that they can just sort of like, just it's a little joke. We like to W key and just completely just take over the action by pressing forward on our characters here. But now they have to play a little bit safer. They have to play a little bit more strategic. And we're seeing that who is going to be rising to the top to really take that over. And Darkbreaker's always been a player who really has a good game sense. He really knows like you were saying, his limits. He's pretty much a Stone Shaper one trick. He always runs that wind offhand build as well. He's gotten very, very used to it, and he knows what he can do and what he can't. So this is a very, very telling situation here that all that work that he's put into that one particular build is starting to pay off, and it results in that first place finish as we saw there. But we do again still have 7 games. And there will be a lot of adjustments coming in between now and then. And again, we are going to be taking these first 4 games on NA and switching over to EU. So there's another part of that equation that we do need to keep in mind here as well.
I mean, a huge part of our tournament format is consistency. You also mentioned right there playing strategic and playing safe. But what we saw from UT right there is playing strategic is not always playing safe. You saw them holding that mid tower. That's a risky move right there, but they knew they could do it. And because they managed to hold that center of Halcyon, they were just dishing out the damage to multiple squads. They put themselves in such a good spot. That is playing strategic. And that is what I'm looking for as these games start to develop. The coordination, the communication, and the decision making coming out from these teams. I absolutely love trio events for these reasons, and we are just about to get into game 2. The drop should be coming shortly. Can you give me any predictions, even though I know it's fruitless almost in these types of environments?
I'll tell you what, man, it'll be interesting now that IMQT has all that confidence from that first game. It'll be interesting to see if they end up going for that Halcyon drop that we know that UT likes to go to quite a lot. It'll definitely be telling if they're going to have that amount of confidence to really just kind of invade onto other teams' drops, as we were talking about before this game 1 got started. So that's really what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a little bit more aggression. I think players were kind of feeling themselves out, kind of saying, hey, can I take this engagement, or do I need to play a little bit safer? Or do I just focus on getting looted and then going for the fight? Or do I prevent other teams from looting and just take whatever they have? So I think we're going to see a little bit more aggression. Tends to happen, especially in the qualifiers that we've had the past few months. And I don't think it'll be any different here today.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, we've brought it up before and we should bring it up again. There's a lot of pressure on these players to perform. And when you're in these BR environments, you come down to those 1v1 moments. We saw right there an example. Darkbreakers chasing down that fight, having to fight off Elpadog and multiple other members. That is not an easy task to do, and it does not get any easier when you realize if you mess up, you might be throwing away $750. That is the type of pressure that these players are under, and it's so exciting to see some players excel under that level of stress. It's going to be nice to see these final games come out. We have 7 more to go, as you mentioned. It's going to be a long day of Spellbreak, and I got nothing but high hopes for it.
Absolutely. Nothing but high hopes indeed. And really, whoever wins at the end of the day between this event, we can all say, we're all winning here on the casting desk. You're all winning watching this stream as well. There's going to be a ton of action here yet to come. And again, this will be the very best that Spellbreak has to offer in terms of players, in terms of tournaments. It's going to be an amazing day. Again, we've only been through game 1, got 7 more to go, man. It's a long day, and it's going to be a great one. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. And we're seeing a lot of diversity between all these builds as well. A lot of players kind of want to shift the meta around a little bit, as we like to hear from the proletariat team with their balance patches coming in, especially with chapter 1. But here, before that even drops, we're seeing a lot of variety in these team compositions, and it really just depends on what works well for you and what doesn't. So maybe you run with 2 frontliners and 1 backliner. Maybe you just go full aggression, like we've been seeing from some of these teams as well. So it's very interesting to see who's really bringing out the variety here. I know Win Goes Burr likes to bring out Tempest, probably the only team we'll see with Tempest today, but we'll see how that changes going forward.
Yeah, I mean, Ashen Frost is such a deadly Tempest player, though. It's so exciting to watch him play. We did see his teammates go down to an unfortunate engage. Ashen Frost managed to slip out and buy himself a bit of extra time. I believe he even brought himself up into that final 3 fight. Did go down early. It's so hard to succeed when you're literally solo squatting in a cash prize tournament. But nonetheless, shout out to him for not only playing so well, but playing so well on a class that is underrepresented in competitive. Tempest, I believe, is one of the most satisfying classes to watch. When it's played correctly, it is an art form. So I'm glad to see Ashen Frost coming out here, not shying away from his typical build and rocking it out. We should be getting into game 2 very shortly. We are just waiting a little bit longer here, OSK. I want to see UT come out with some aggression. We did see them play safe, just like every other team, starting a little bit slower. I want to see UT come out and establish their dominance. A lot of people look at them as the favorites to come into this tournament. They looked really great in game 1, and I would love to see them just forcefully start catching bodies in these games.
Well, we can talk about UT all day, right? We're expecting them to set the pace, but this is a really big opportunity for other teams to do the same as well. I mean, we saw that in the very beginning. UT not getting a whole lot of action. This is a grand opportunity for someone like I Am Cutie or Next to Linade or really any of these teams in this list that we have in front of us here. There is a wide opportunity to just drop in these high traffic areas and really start getting the snowball going between all these exiles, between all the loot that you can get. And you know that the earlier exiles you get, generally the better loot you can get as well. And you could snowball that into other engagements. So you can say, hey, I have more epic pieces of loot than you do. I should be able to win this engagement a lot more easily. So I really want to see who is going to set the pace. It might be UT. It might not be, but I'm really open-minded to see who is going to come out and really start doing that, because we haven't really seen much of that yet.
I mean, I do love to see it, though. In chat, we got people making some big predictions. SB Zebra says QT will win the tournament. All sorts of names coming out there. So we love to see that diversity, the different choices people want to win this tournament. I'm excited to see game 2 as well. And we're just waiting a little bit longer. Remember that the queue system sometimes takes a quick second to make sure we got everybody in there. We don't want to miss a single team when we get into these matches. So, OSK, before we get into the next game, what can you tell me about these class variations, or at least just the talents that you see coming out on the classes?
Well, for the first thing, we saw this on Megaverse, and we've also seen it on Elpadog. Well, really, Elpadog likes to run that runic fluency scavenging and recovery build onto Stone Shaper, and that's something that he's kind of started. It works well for him, and maybe it's just due to the extra movement that you want to run that. But at the same time, you're running scavenging into a squad environment with 3 members on each team, and sometimes whenever you get that final exile, the scavenging, it doesn't really have an immediate effect whenever you're actually in a fight. So maybe we'll see players kind of switch off of that to get into fortitude, maybe not, but it's really a risky play, right? Because when you run scavenging, you have to be thinking, I have to be the one to seal out the exiles. I have to be the one to get the final hit, or the one to be the thirster of my team, so that I can actually get a benefit out of it. And if that doesn't happen, then you're just wasting 2 talent points. So you either have to adjust as a team to allow that to happen, to kind of have it as an anti-third party if you can farm another team quickly enough, or you're gonna have to run fortitude to block any sort of cheeky long range damage. But that also brings up another point too, that a lot of these teams have some kind of tool to pop your fortitude a little bit easier than others. Like you can just take 1 toxic spray, you can take 1 lightning bolt, you can take 1 wind shear, but at the same time you can also take an ice lance. So I would like to see fortitude come out a little bit more. I would like to see a little bit more of an immediate benefit than just banking on someone to get an XL for your scavenging. That would be my personal take on that. But in terms of other builds that we're seeing, I mean, I pointed out Very Crisp as well on Conduit. He's rocking Foresight, not something that we're seeing a whole lot of, but I'm telling you, it's going to be the future of Spellbreak competitive. It gives so much information that is just so valuable to be running it on. And with the changes coming up, and this isn't even talking about this tournament, I'm talking about Chapter 1, Frostborn getting some changes, as well as the basic Frost Gauntlet as well. That could really be a game changer, rucking Foresight onto Frostborn. But enough about that. We'll go ahead and get into this game 2 here. Looks like Syncade going to go ahead and get this meme team out of the lobby. T-Foul and Elpacat going to go down to his hand. And also, we're seeing a little bit of action from Haunt here. Nemo is going to go ahead and be thirsted by Rush Frog, as well as Cam going to take out Koosh Cookie.
Yeah, so right away, we see way more action in Game 2. I quickly wanted to recap, though, in that Game 1 match, Team UT actually ended up with the most score. Even though they did not win first place placement, we must remember that score is calculated according to damage, exiles, and placement.
Holy
UT
damage.
came on top, and they were dishing the damage from the center of Halcyon. They managed to pull out that first place finish in Game 1, even though they didn't take the first place in the lobby. So nice to see. Just wanted to quickly update anybody who hasn't checked scores. Remember the hit exclamation mark scores. You'll see all the information I'm reading as well. And we are in the game. Seeing Casper and his team just take some slow loot. And we did see more action in the kill feed, but it seems to have calmed down right away.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go back to that point about UT taking Game 1. That's another element of taking that central position that I neglected to mention, is that you have so much opportunity for other teams to run into you that it's a prime opportunity to not only get exiles, of course, but just damage in general. If you're going to be running into more teams just on average, there's so many more opportunities to... Yes, it's risky. It is risky. You could get exiled yourself if you're not good enough to hold it down. But if you can, even if you can stalemate them, that's all the damage in the world that you could potentially farm off. And that's exactly what Team UT did in that first game. And this isn't a small margin they won by the way. This is between first place and second place. This is over 200 total points. So this is going to be so important going into these later games. Teams need to realize, just like Team IMQT is right now, that a central position going to give you so many more opportunities to get all of this damage, and it looks like that's exactly what they're doing. Now in the kill feed here, we do see Team KW going to go ahead and get a quick exile onto El Postadente, and that's going to be a snipe coming out from QQZ. That's going to be 60 damage to his opponent's skull. That's going to be a nice bit of aim on his part there. Just really looking to play back and contest this Halcyon area. Exactly what they need to do if they want to take first place in today's event.
Yeah, nice job by Kuzi, though, to just take some shots, not overextend, keep himself contained with his team. And something I wanted to mention about the central position theorem that you're bringing up is that these players are so good with gauntlets like Frost and Lightning. Their tracking is so on point that holding that central spot is more beneficial to a very talented competitive player than almost anybody else, due to the fact that those Frost shots that you think might not hit, they will connect through on that angle. They will find that shot to score up on the damage. So it's always nice to see teams make those rotations, as we see Kuzi and his IMQT squad doing now. Remember that this is the team that won first place finish. They didn't get the most score in Game 1, but still impressive to see them pull that out. Now we're getting over to Millsy and his team of Thunder Thighs. He does have that Shadow Step with Toxicologist. We know that's such a crucial part of building up this class into the late game. We'll see what he can do with the rest of his team, though. It looks like they also just going to sit on some high ground and throw out some Toxic.
Yeah, high ground is in high demand over here in Spellbreak, and they are keeping the demand up. As we see here, not a lot of supply, but as we like to say, where there is demand, there is profit. And it looks like the demand is in favor here. Now, it looks like they'll actually be looking to rotate off, though. They will give up that position. Going to have to keep an eye on Halcyon for Team IMQT and potentially Team UT as well. So we'll see how that plays out. But I do have to give commendations to Millsy here with the cursive writing there. I too am a man of culture. I too like to curve my L's a little bit, and he's no different here. So maybe a little bit of bias coming out from me, but I don't care. It is nice to look at. Now it looks like we'll be looking at some long-range fireballs. Probably not much coming out in the way of damage there, but you know, just kind of surveying the land. Not really much going on just yet. The kill feed has died down, and there are 33 players still remaining. It's going to be 11 squads, and the first zone is just now closed. So that next location, if we can get a little bit of the map, see where these teams will have to rotate on to, but we'll get to that here in a second. We do have Team UT still in the Halcyon area. You have to think, where is Team IMQT? There's surely enough sounds coming out from this direction for them to kind of notice this. Looks like there is a ping coming out from Team UT. This might indeed be them. We might see an early clash between Team UT and Team IMQT. We'll have to see how this works out for them. So far, Kamsky going to be looking to take the dominant position, playing a little bit of mind games with his name as well. He is indeed not on Pyro. He is on the Toxicologist. And look at this. We're seeing plenty of teams rotate out. This could be a bit of a wild game fest right here. So Kamsky going to rotate out to this tower, and we'll see what he can see.
Yeah, I mean, Kamsky's a scary player. Kamsky with focused mana ×3 is a very scary player. Kamsky with all of those things and a knowledge potion is a threat. We will see what he can do as he takes the shot, hits an 81 damage right as we call it. Kamsky is just going to be a menace in this match. His team takes that shot, but they actually decide to rotate even further. That is the communication right there. They hit an opener, but they know that they have the patience to not even push it. They just put a bit of pressure down, collect a little bit of damage score, and keep on moving. They spot out a couple targets now. We'll see if Kamsky can hit the shot. That looks like it almost connected, but the damage didn't go. UT will have to balance this aggression. There's 2 squads on either side, but Kamsky just doesn't miss now. Goes for the quick ether shot, but doesn't get the second follow-up. Throwing down some toxic now. This doesn't look like tournament players, so UT will mop this one up with ease, and that's going to be a quick wipe for them.
Oh my goodness, can you imagine? That's going to be a full squad wipe, by the way. Hold up, pause. We're not holding up for you here. That's going to be exiled out to the next lobby. Man, I would not want to be a new player coming into one of these lobbies, let me tell you. You just see all these names in the kill feed that maybe you're not familiar of, but maybe you are, because they still have those player highlights on YouTube, you know? There are still a lot of familiar names here. So, man, this would just be a nightmare for me. But anyway, Asher Frost going to go ahead and thirst off Nigel. This is going to be CNT, going to lose 1 member there. It's going to be very detrimental into the later game here, but there is one thing that we have to keep in mind. They do really show up on the EU side of things. Probably the best performing EU team on their home server. So we'll have to wait until the second half, it looks like, to see if they're going to pop off. But for right now, we have next to Linade holding down the southern part of Wayfarer's Crossing, and really just keep an eye on the edge of the zone here. Just not really looking to full engage, just playing the poke game, not really doing much. Maybe going to drag this fight out of the castle, but so far, not really much doing.
Interesting variation from Borsellino. He's rocking the Spell Slinger on a class that benefits from focused mana so much. We know how much of a staple focused mana is in these tournaments. Interesting to see Borsellino take a different little approach to the class. We see Casper now jumping right into the face. Shadow Step will be off cooldown in just half a second. He might take that jump, but instead goes for the Frost. Gonna try to let his teammates clean it up. Cursed is on the Conduit, and Blindside is rocking that Stone Shaper. Casper's on Frostborn. Always love to see this class come out in comp. We'll see what he can do with it. Looking for another angle. He's holding on to that Rune Charge, making sure he has it safe just in case he needs to play defensive. Holding that up now, his team will just get compacted into this high ground. But Casper's taking shots, OSK. This is not a free set. They have to be careful with getting pushed.
Yeah, and you know that Frostborn really likes the late game, and this is kind of a little bit early for them to be taking so many advanced fights. Really all the classes in this team comp really like the late game. So maybe they'll look to rotate off, realizing that, hey, I can get double boulders, I can get power surge, I can get ice prism, and I can get tundra a little bit later on. We won't fight this fight yet, but for right now, Not Blank as part of team Kinda Weird, gonna take a little shot here, but also gonna take a shot of that health potion. And now going to be looking to just get a little bit more damage out here. That's going to be a Shadow Step popping out, and that's a little bit of a collapse from the enemy team onto his position. Cam is 1 HP. Going to go ahead and take a little bit of damage. Gigabyte the same, and they're kind of not in the best spot here. They are at a little bit of low ground, actually looking to dip out of the zone and rotate further up. This is the play here. This is the positional superiority. It's exactly what they need to do. It's just going to be interesting to see if it's going to be worth it for them, because they are taking health damage, and you know, we don't know what team they're going up against either. This might be a little bit of a mistake to take all that damage with no immediate health potions, but here we go. Here is the engagement. Here is this Frost coming out from Not Blank. We'll have to see how this works out for him. So far, not really much doing, just looking to rotate off to a safer part of the zone.
Yeah, he's just applying that pressure, shooting in a couple shots, trying to make his team move with him. They have to be careful, though. They might get pinched in here. Remember, there's still 26 players in this lobby, and the circle is rapidly shrinking. Not Blank is trying to connect on one of these shots over the top. Seeing the kill feed now, Death seems to have gone down at the same time that Phoenix did as well. That should be his team almost wiped out. Only Rush Frog still up. Curse falls to the Storm. You have to imagine that these squads just collided deep in the middle of the zone, and they may just be falling because of it. Not Blank throwing down the firewall, dropping a little bit of artillery from deep. but not a lot of damage coming out. When you're playing against players of this quality and you're throwing out fireballs from that range, it's very low chance that any of them connect.
Yeah, and this might just be a little bit of a distraction from the other team. Just kind of just have them rotate off of that preferred spot. That might be the play. But like you said, not really going to be much doing. Now Next going to have to dodge the meteors from above and have to burn one of his shadow steps. No movement options on him. This is a very dangerous spot for Next. Gonna have to see how he works his way out of this one, but they are coming off a cooldown now. That's gonna be an immediate rune burn right there. That's gonna be the Vanishing Mist. Another 7 seconds where he can't really do much in terms of movement. Trying to land his shots, not gonna land that one, but will get a little bit of Toxic Spray, but that's gonna be Borsellino gonna go down to SKT Dark B. That's the Dark Breakers on Team IMQT. Going to go ahead and get that disruption. Next is the only remaining member of his team for Team Next Selenade. So going to have to play it safe. I'm not sure if Borsellino is going to be saved here. Maybe just try to last until the late game to get those placement points. But for right now, not looking too good. It's going to be G3 getting a nice exile onto Cam Sucks. Kind of weird, going to lose one member. That's Team IMQT also going to lose a member. That's Marcus, aka Apostle, falling to T-Fel on Conduit. And this might be where exactly they are. That might be IMQT holding down the avant-garde area. And this is going to be Chaos, just looking for any kind of snipes. We know he's so good at landing these. We know the kind of power that he can dish out on this Pyromancer Frost build. So let's see if he can rotate off to this mountain and get a clear shot. Not looking like it for right now, though.
Yeah, I mean, his teammate has taken a lot of damage, though. Player 2 just got his reset, but he is low. Chaos is now trying to fill in that gap, looking for the Frost Snipe. Oh, he hits the 51 on the tip. Nice take from him. We'll see if he can get a follow-up. It is too far away. Looking at the kill feed, though, UT is also wreaking some havoc. Wind goes Bird. 2 of their members have fallen, and it looks like they may just get squad wiped. Now we see G3 taking the rotation. Chaos actually going on the aggressive. The front foot here. Misses the frost shot that would have been a crucial snipe and hits the 43, though. Nice follow-up from Chaos, as now he's going to take a bit of time. He dealt that damage. Now he can look to pot, put out that pressure. We'll see what G3 can do. They need to get a bit more compact, though. OSK, they are separated, and this is when they may get exposed for it. Megaverse does have enough armor in his inventory to keep on drinking up, and player 2 needs a bit of time to reset, but Chaos has no time. He's running straight into the flames. Player 2 does go down, but Chaos gets a nice quick explosion onto Death SB, taking him down. And now we have a trade in the 1v1, but the Storm will claim the kill. 11 people left in the circle. Chaos is the only one remaining for G3. Can he make a play here? Taking the Firefly through the firewall, jumping up to the high ground, holding it down and dropping in, but missing too many fireballs, and that will be his life as he falls. 8 people left in the game. Cam is 1 HP, is literally 1 HP, as he's dropping down now with these boulders, but he can't get the exile. Enough damage, but not enough follow-up, OSK.
Oh my goodness, look at the Chaos going down. This is Gamma's 1 HP, just doing everything he can to land any kind of damage. Almost hits the fireball, but not going to connect. Oh my goodness, this is such an unfavorable position for him, but look at the recovery. He's doing so well despite the high damage. Now it's literally 4 HP. Gonna dodge the boulder. Oh my, how is he alive right now? He is just doing so well on staying alive, but that will be the end of him. T-Foul gonna take him out. Only 2 exiles for him, but a ton of damage and a ton of hang time in the air as well. This is T-Foul, the last member of Team UT. Hopefully it's going to be a first place finish, but it doesn't look like it from the get-go. Now we have T-Foul trying to dodge 2 players shooting fireballs at him. Not really going to do much. Holding the dominant position, trying to get its res through the firewall, but it won't work. But that's a lot of hot potato coming out saying, hey, I don't want to hold on to this. You can take it if you want. But that's so much damage going his way as well. This might be a full squad on him, and it's not going to be enough. That's going to be not blank coming out, and that's going to be Team Kinda Weird taking game number 2.
That was a weird little kill feed interaction, though. We have to double check with the scores if that was KW who took that final kill. We will wait and see, because it came down to just 2 other teams remaining. I believe you are right, but nonetheless, that was an insane set once again. Back-to-back chaotic games, and it looks like because of the slow pace to start the matches, we are getting 20, 25, 28 people in these final fights. OSK, it's almost too much to break down as a caster.
You know what? I don't like to use this term lightly. It's almost like a clown fiesta to some extent. Like, I'm watching all these different teams. No one really has the clear upper hand. It's all about their positioning, but there's so much flux there's so much flux in these kind of situations that it could very easily be that one team just steps a little bit too far forward to take an engagement, and then another team comes up right behind them, shoves them off their positioning, and now you're back to square one. And that's exactly what you're seeing. A lot of positional rotations coming out, and it's just sometimes very, very difficult to follow and stay that way. Now, you do have a point. What is it?
Borsalino was the one to take that kill. So that was actually
Ooh.
Nextalinade who won the game. It was not KW, I don't think. KW had the disruption onto Kamsky and onto the other player on UT Elpadog. So then the kill onto Tfal came from Borsalino. It was Borsa who won that game. It was Nextalinade who took that WOSK. That changes
Oh man.
everything going into game 3. What is this event?
Well, I don't know. It's Element Fusion Finals at its finest. You know, so much chaos coming out. And yes, we do have confirmation from our score team over here that they did take first place on that last Exile. Oh my good, what is this event coming out here? As you mentioned here, we do have plenty of like lax play, not really engaging too hard in the early game, and it just makes for these absolutely chaotic final circles. And really, no one is clearly taking this upper hand in terms of placements. Now, there is a lot of exiles. There are a lot of damage coming out from teams like IMQT and Team UT that might be the deciding factor. But in terms of placements, it's anyone's game.
Yeah, that is definitely a fact. And I mean, that match right there shows you how it is anyone's game. We literally had to do math out here to decide who took that game and to make sure we were correct. But nonetheless, what a fantastic match. 2 more games to play on NA, and then we move over to EU. OSK, I find after the matches, I literally have to tell myself in my head to take a deep breath, to calm down a little bit, because these games are just absolute heaters. And it makes it even better the fact that the winner of these games, the winner of today's tournament, takes home $750 to split between 3 people. That is no insignificant amount, and that is a very exciting reality to watch these games.
That's a lot of gumballs, man. Those are 25 cents each. That's 1,000 gumballs, man. It's a lot. It's a lot you can get in one day. That's 250 going to each of your teammates if you do take that first place placement. Of course, 500 total going to second place, 250 going to third place. Like you said, not an insignificant amount of money. Maybe you're looking to take your date out to a nice little dinner. Maybe you're looking to save up for that car. Maybe you're looking, just to get something nice. Maybe you're looking for that new 3070 or that 3080, 3090 that just came out. Whatever you're looking forward to is definitely a good chunk of that money going your way if you can take first place. So that's kind of what we're seeing, kind of being translated into these squad plays here. They're playing a little bit passively, especially in the early to mid game, but we do have some clear front runners here. It looks like Team UT is still gonna hold that first place overall due to the exiles and due to the damage. And at this rate, something has to change fundamentally between all these teams' drops. You can't let Team UT just sort of run away with it, as we were saying before the event started. We don't want to see a runaway event. We want to see some good competition coming out here. And so far, in terms of exiles and damage, it is a very, very clear defining factor who is willing to take all of these fights and who has the skill to seal them out as quickly as UT is so far.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we almost just saw UT actually win that game, though. Let's not forget that Tfal was dishing out damage in a 1v3 situation, and he almost pulled it off at one point when both players got low on the exchange. So right there, as you're saying, they have to do more to challenge UT. But we also got to talk about all the other teams, because I've been very, very satisfied with how Team KW has been playing. We all know Gigabyte is a fantastic player. We know Blank is as well a very great player. But to see them come together as well with Cam Sucks, who is now named Cam is on 1 HP, just playing their heart out in these games. It's been a fantastic set from them so far in the first 2 matches.
Oh, absolutely. And same goes to IMQT and Nextalinate, as we saw, won that one G3 as well. Those are your current top 5 placements, by the way, if you want to take a look. Excuse me. That's going to be exclamation scores there in the chat. You can go ahead and follow along as we are as well. One team that I didn't expect to be as low as they are is Haunt, though. I would really like to see them kind of step up to the plate and really start to hammer out some of these exiles like I know they can. Back in the day, whenever we were just getting started with Spellbreak, these were some of the most prominent players that you would see in the kill feed. These are some of those prominent players that you would say, hey, Rush Frog is in my game. I need to be careful. Death is in my game. I need to be careful. Even Phoenix Sue, who is a very, very long time player, you would see him in the kill feed as well. And you would say, hey, maybe I need to play a little bit safer. He might be running that Pyromancer. I might need to stay back and try to poke him from afar if I'm going to take this W. So I really want to see that sort of legendary status show itself here in this event. So far, just a little bit less than what I expected, but we'll see how that changes. There's plenty of opportunity to change this. Again, only the best 6 are going to be taken out of this event. So even if you do really well, some of these lower end games can be completely taken off your score. So it's definitely the kind of mindset that players need to have going into these in these final 6 games. Another one that I'm really looking forward to seeing on the EU side of things is Team CNT. Yet they have the kind of same status, but on the EU side of things, they don't typically really outshine anybody on the NA side of things historically. But when they hop on the EU, they are a force to be reckoned with. That's another thing we need to mention too, is that the whole second half of this, the final 4 games, going to be on a completely different server on EU. There's plenty of opportunity for all of this lead that UT is gaining to be completely overrun once we get into the second half.
I mean, yeah, and you're talking about teams from EU, also talking about teams you want to see perform a bit better. I feel like I got to bring up Wind Goes Burt as well. That game 2 was quite a disappointment from them. It does seem
Another
like their
EU team.
community so far as well in the chat. So we're looking to see them pick it up here. As you said, once we get over to EU, they are an EU team, so they might feel that benefit, a little bit lower latency, a little bit easier to track down opponents, but we'll see really how that plays out. Remember, still 2 more games on NA, then we will have a nice little halftime break followed by the final 4 games. That leaves us with 6 matches left to go. As OSK said, make sure you guys are constantly checking the scores to keep yourselves updated. Make sure you know who's landing where and where your favorite team is placing. But yeah, we got game 3 coming up just in a second here. The drop should be falling soon, and we'll be getting back into the action, OSK.
Yeah, sorry for the delay, guys. A little bit of technical difficulties on the server side of things, but we are getting in very, very quickly. Looks like we are queuing up right now, so that will be coming your way very, very shortly. But let's talk about what I'm excited for in the future, man. We do have this whole meta shift that everyone's liking to talk about coming up on December 15th. Man, Chapter 1 is on the way, along with a Steam release and a lot of changes coming up. I would really, really like to see what they do with the Frostborn class. There's so much talk about it. Both the class and the gauntlet are going to be adjusted, man. I want Frostborn to be what it used to be. I really do.
I mean, one thing for me, if we're talking about balance and things coming up in the December 15th patch, I want to see recovery get touched, because I think I've watched too many games of Spellbreak where recovery is the absolute must-take talent. I do think sometimes in the trios it gets pushed out by one player in the squad running thirsty due to that benefit and other things like that, but I would love to see recovery finally just take the nerf bat to the knees and maybe open up a couple more variability in that slot for the talents.
Yeah, I used to be a strong talent like you. Then I took a nerf to the knee or something like that. But yeah, you do make a good point. We're seeing a lot of recovery in these events. It's been going on for quite a while, and it is confirmed to be touched on the next patch. So I'll have to see how much of a touch it gets. Don't want to completely see it go out, but I wouldn't mind if we do see some more prominent talents out. Now, one thing to note here, we are seeing a lot of Thirsty today as well. Kamski's running it, a few others are running it, and it's really working well for a lot of these teams. I do believe I saw Cam has 1 HP on it as well. Just sort of giving that passive healing to his teammates is very, very powerful in a squad environment. And you have to imagine if the other team members are running recovery as well, that's just so much passive healing going their way if they do have a Thirsty buff going their way as well. So there's a lot of synergy to be had there. And I want to talk about some of these rotations that we're seeing coming out of these players. They're doing a really good job of kind of feeling out what's going to be the dominant position in this next circle. We've seen Team G3 really take control of the Stone Tooth Mountain very, very early on in game number 1 and use it to great success. We saw Team UT take control of Halcyon in game 1 as well. IMQT making some good adjustments as well in the Halcyon area, kind of in the mid game that we saw earlier in game 2. So there's definitely a bit of an adjustment going on. We'll have to see how many other teams are going to catch on to this and really take control of this positioning game that's going on. It's almost like chess to an extent. You want to put your pieces in a good enough position to where they can perform to their highest quality. And really, we've seen about 3 or 4 teams really make good use of that. I would like to see all 10 come out here, but we'll find out here in just a second. We are in game 3, and look at that. We have IMQT immediately going to go ahead and take out Kind of Weird. Definitely a drop game for them, but a great start for IMQT.
Yeah, definitely a hot start. That is a full squad wipe right off the bat. The first one, I believe, of the event, other than Sincade wiping out a random team in game 2. So very exciting, a different set of pace to this game 3 matchup. And we'll see what Darkbreakers can do with this type of momentum and the rest of his team. You saw Kuzi in the kill feed just mopping up all those drops. That's got to feel good for the player, not only for the loot he's going to receive, but also just for the confidence, setting yourself up to know that you can make these plays, to warm yourself up. Even though we are in game 3, it's still in the first half of the tournament. There is time to feel the blood flow into your fingers and start hitting those shots. Alpodog does take down Gorbus as Egg Maestro falls to T-Foul. UT will mop up that team, and we're watching G3 just take their loot slowly but surely here.
Yeah, I might have a bit of an ulterior motive as well. I know there's a lot of content creators in this particular event. I would really like to see what kind of clips they can get out of this competitive event. You know how many videos I'm going to see on my YouTube feed about, I was in a competitive event, I was in the finals, look at my performance. Man, it's going to be a fun time for later. But so far, we do see G3 Megaverse taking the wind offhand, something that Darkbreakers really popularized. Usually not the best offhand you want to run, but it does work well in certain circumstances, especially in those that stone may not be the best at. Like against a Tempest, that stone's basically going to be useless. So that wind offhand can really work well to sort of turn the tables in your favor there. Going to opt for the Toxic instead, though. Maybe get that extra little bit of DPS from the corrosion on your shield, and then follow up with a nice stone once the health is nice and vulnerable. It's usually what players like to do on Stone Shaper with Toxic offhand. We'll see what Megaverse ends up doing with it, or if he ends up switching off for yet another gauntlet.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen Megaverse rocking that spring step all tournament so far. 3 games in a row, I believe he's taken that choice. We'll see how he can make that one work for himself. Got that runic fluency as well. Going to be double stacking that spring step, making it a lot harder to track down that Stone Shaper. He's waiting around the corner, though. You have to imagine he's heard somebody on the other side of this rock. He did spotted out this Frostborn. That should be Casper. I believe he's the one player playing Frostborn so far today. They are just waiting to get their approach, but Megaverse takes a little bit of pepper damage on the outside, rotating back to his team, trying to stay compact. You have to imagine that there might be multiple teams collapsing on this area. So Megaverse is taking his time, pinging off to the side, but his team makes a separate call, actually going up to the farther high ground. Looks like Megaverse was actually just pinging out some enemies, didn't want to rotate there. Now his team is going to take off the backside of this hill, OSK. They don't want to take this fight straight up, but they're also not completely disengaging. They're like lightly pushing this team, applying a bit of pressure, making sure that they still will have an angle. And it reminds me of the chess analogy you brought up in the pregame, OSK.
Yeah, they're really doing a good job of getting that dominant position. It looks like they might be a little bit late to the party, though. It looks like the other team has taken the other side of this hill. Maybe it's a zone rotation that we're seeing come out, but you know what? They are finding themselves in a dominant position as G3. They did find themselves on top of that hill, not really going to make great use of it, it looks like. Maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity, but for right now, it looks like they'll be sitting okay on the southern side of Gritfeld. I'd like to get the map up to see where these teams are going to be rotating off to. It looks like there's a lot of movement going to the northern side, but you know what? It's not really that. It doesn't look like it's going to be that favorable going into the next zone. So not really sure what the enemy team is doing, completely taking control of Gritfeld. Maybe they're looking to loot up. Maybe they're looking to, rotate off to the more northern side of the map, like curving around the Whitgrave area. But, there's not really a whole lot of dominant position taking going on here. But we are going to hop on over to Team UT here, who is taking control of the Whitgrave area. This is going to be a big opener for them if they can take control of this. And you can already see in the kill feed, there's a lot of thirst coming out. That's T-Foul already with 2 exiles. They're already getting the ball rolling, exactly what these other teams need to do as well. They're just so good at getting the ball rolling in the early game. I don't know what they are doing to really get this thing started. Maybe it's the drop that they're doing. Maybe it's just their overall team coordination that they're able to ping out players and just get over to them very, very quickly. But I'm not sure what it is that they're doing to get so many exiles so early on, but it's working out well for them, as we can see in the scores.
Yeah, definitely. We're also seeing Sincade pick up a lot of kills early in these games. He just took down Kirsten blindside, as you see in the kill feed. Good job by him to keep cleaning up, and that should be the end of the squad right there. Just one more player on that team remaining. Next to Lino, gets a couple kills on top of that one. UT did try to push for this high ground. T-Foul took a massive amount of damage, but it looks like they actually still pressured this team off of the top spot. They managed to get themselves into this new dominant position, drop a little bit of lightning now. T-Foul not quite getting any of those to connect right on, but his team is just playing so patient right now. And this is the coordination from UT. This is the hours that they've put in together as a unit. just playing around, knowing each other's goals and knowing each other's objectives, making sure they're staying coordinated almost without saying it at certain points. We see G3 Chaos as well taking down Snowman. So this match in game 3 has seen a lot more early exiles than compared to the first two.
Yeah, if you want to talk about what these teams do to prepare for this event, I know for a fact that UT, especially after scrims, they'll all get together and do at least an hour of VOD review after each event. So there's definitely a lot of time and dedication going into their style of play. G3 also has a little bit of that going on as well. I know player 2 himself really likes to host VOD reviews to sort of help other players improve, and you have to imagine he does the same for himself. Very, very talented player coming out on this. It looks like just a stacked solo player team, like I said earlier, just kind of clumped into a squad. But they've had plenty of time at this point to get that coordination up. So definitely one of these teams to look out for, especially for the later part. I would like to see do a little bit better. I think they're selling themselves short just a little bit. So we'll have to see how they adjust. And we can see here already trying to take the northern part of the zone. The zone is closing at this point, so they will have to shift off this position just a little bit, looking to get more towards the Arena of Elders area, towards this little village on the hill that we like to see players take up quite frequently. Looks like we'll go ahead and get a quick ping out onto this Spirit talent. That will be player 2 taking that one up. And Chaos just really looking for any opportunity to land this Frost and any opportunity to get a better Frost at that point.
I mean, he's got the triple stack focus mana, so if he connects on one of these Frosts, it is going to hurt. He's going to put that one down for the scorecard. As Kuzi is also dropping the shots, he does not have the focus mana. He's instead rocking that Vigor with the Finder's Keepers. So keep that in mind if you see this team picking up a lot of knowledge potions. It could be influenced by Kuzi's decision to rock that talent. He is holding this high ground, trying to drop a couple more shots with the Frost. But it looks like most of these teams are just going to back off IMQT. Once again, IMQT is doing a great job of staying positioned, staying compact as a unit, and rotating as a team. Kuzi's going to keep popping these chests. Oh, sorry, you go for it.
No, I was going to say they're going to run into Team G3 over here. This is exactly where they're rotating towards. So keep an eye out for that. Sorry, I was just trying to make a passive comment. But anyway, QQZ going to just be looking out for these enemy teams. We know that there's some to the northern side, so keep an eye out for that for later on.
Yeah, we'll see if that really does come down to it, though. You have to imagine that UT also has done a fast rotation, though. I haven't seen UT hold up too many spots of the map other than in that game 1 when they had the super nice spotted Halcyon. I have been watching UT do more strong, long rotations across the map. We'll see if they do end up conflicting with IMQT. You might have just called it right there as QQZ does avoid a little bit of lightning damage, but that Frost for some reason didn't connect. It looked like it hit him in the back, but he gets the benefit of the doubt, and he's going to just take this 1v1 now, throwing out the fire, trying to trade evenly, but that Toxicologist just pushes onto the Darkbreakers. Kuzi just getting his stuff corroded with that Toxic, and he's going to look for this high ground. He does have that Frost to try to pepper shots out. He's probably begging his team to come rotate. They know this is not the angle. Marcus is low, Darkbreakers is low, and Kuzi is on the run, OSK. This is a heartbreaker for IMQT. They look so poised before this breakdown.
Yeah, and you're seeing the risks that you have to take getting these long rotations out. That's kind of a trade-off that you have to imagine here. That if you're going to make that long rotation, you better be ready to take a lot of damage between the crossfire of some of these teams. And we saw they pretty much just moved all the way across from their previous position, and they ended up losing a whole lot of shield for it. So they'll have to get to a position to where they can recover some of those resources that they had to expend to make that rotation work. And it looks like they're going to be trying to do that based on this fight with the other team. They don't find themselves in the most favorable positions here. They would like to get a little bit of a higher place, a little bit more cover, and this is going to be a quick little fight breaking out. But QQZ laying down the damage, just trying to get a nice little angle for his Frost. I would have to imagine that opponent's not very high in the health department, but he is going to get zapped a little bit for his troubles. That's half his armor going to go ahead and get taken out here. Interesting that he's rocking the full tank build. You know, usually we see a focus mana variant on the Pyro, but enough of that here. We're going to get into yet another engagement. This might be a whole separate team coming in from Fort Halcyon. Can't really tell who it is, but in the kill feed, we are seeing a lot of action from Team Wingo's Burr. So good to see that they are alive and kicking over there and getting a little bit of exiles. But QQZ just kind of playing it slow for right now, not really looking to rotate off of anything, just kind of holding his position.
Yeah, and the exact opposite of playing it slow, we get over to Kamsky, who's in the middle of what it looked like to be two fights. He rolls out, will get a potion, and his team has come to back him up. Still 28 players. OSK, there's been so much action in this game 3, but not that many more exiles relative to the other games. We still have 28 players, which is a lot left over. Death SB fell to Megaverse just now in the kill feed. We'll see if any other kills will follow that, but we see Kamsky did get his full reset off, and Team UT is back to this confident position they are holding. Again, they look for this central spot. They might rotate deeper into the center. There is that nice cliff on the top right over the edge that they might be pushing towards. Kamsky loading up, trying to pull it off here. Doesn't quite get it to connect, but Elpadog just throwing in those boulders for the AoE damage. They have to watch their flank though, OSK. This could be a risk if somebody decides to pop up on UT from behind and full engage.
I'll tell you what, this is a great position to be firing into Fort Halcyon, but it's not really that great for other angles. As you did mention, they do have a wide flank that they do need to keep track of, and you're seeing, it looks like Elpadog in the minimap, just kind of keep an eye on all that. He might be in a little bit of an engagement himself. He is taking a little bit of damage. They'll have to completely disconnect from the Halcyon area, but Kamsky on the Frost just saying, hey, I can get a little bit of cover from afar over here if you want to take the front line. Now Kamsky actually looking to completely rotate off into the Fort Halcyon area. Enough pressure has been dealt, and they will go ahead and take over this dominant position. But as we see the zone completely rotated off, nice shot coming out from Kamsky, looking for number 2. That's going to be another one. Ooh, the damage coming out. That's only half health on his Blind Faith opponent. Just needs one more shot to connect here. That's going to be just a missed little shadow step. Very, very close. And no follow-up from his team there to really take that exile. As I say, that Doc is going to go down by the hand of Elpadog. So that's one member of, it looks like Team Thunder Thigh is going to go down. This might be another member going down by the hand of Kamsky, just kind of taking a drawn-out approach to this fight. Not really fully committing to all this, and you can see why. So much opportunity for third parties coming out. This is another 21-person final circle place. This is going to get yet another chaotic circle.
And this is a disaster for UT. Kamsky was not able to get the full reset, had to dodge the boulders, but still took residual damage, and now his whole team is just chunked. Kamsky does fall to Chaos, and G3 might be able to mop this up with the rest of the team. We're looking at Megaverse now. Has that spring step, so much HP and armor to work with. Can he make the clutch play? Player 2 drops next, and it looks like G3 is just holding the central position, trying to deal the damage, but something is happening to Megaverse. He's getting stuck in the ground, and he gets blown up, unfortunately. We're going to have to figure out exactly what just happened right there. But nonetheless, his team is going to have to try to clean up. All sorts of players still fighting. And it looks like most players are low HP at that. Somebody jumps onto Chaos and he trades evenly. Darkbreakers is on his own. IMQT is fully wiped out. Can he make the clutch 1v3? Nobody to look for right now. Both of his teammates are on the other side of that hill, but Darkbreakers is not afraid. That focused mana 58. Marcus, aka Postal, gets the exile onto Nigel that was delayed because Marcus is already still down. Darkbreaker takes the flight rune, throwing himself up there. He will have 2 boulders off cooldown, and this could be his moment to throw down some burst and make a play. 9 players left in the game, but 2 of them are down, as you can see with this little spot on the map. OSK, I don't know what Darkbreakers can do here to try to 1v3 2 different teams.
I'll tell you right now, he's not going to find a better rarity of Frost. Look at player 2 deal out the damage, though. That's Wind Ghost Burr, and that's Chaos with the final hit onto Ashen Frost there, along with player 2. Oh my goodness, what a slam coming out from you Darkbreakers! Look at all the damage coming out. That's another one. That's another combo. One more slam will do it for Megaverse. Oh my goodness, the slaps coming out, the residual damage, the small slaps. Darkbreaker's just looking for his next angle of attack here. The boulders are flying, the stones are slamming, and that's another victory for Team IMQT.
Oh my goodness, the Darkbreakers just went crazy in game 3. That was a legitimate 1v3. He picked up Marcus, aka Apostle, had 40 HP. He fell, and Darkbreaker said, let me handle it, OSK. What a match.
Oh my goodness, hand this man a mop. He is sweeping the competition out here today. He carried game 1 and he carries game 3 as well. Oh my god, are you seeing these damage values? That's a boulder into another boulder into potentially another stone slam, another shockwave for 58 damage. Holy moly, he has proven that Stone Shaper not something to snooze on.
Darkbreakers just went crazy. I'm watching the replay on delay, and that is literally the only words I can get out of my mouth. I can just imagine the sweat dripping as he had to clutch that one out. We talked about how much the pressure plays come down to it. Darkbreakers just handling it completely and shedding off a 1v3. Here is the replay, ladies and gentlemen, and we badly need to see it. OSK, break it down for me.
You're seeing Darkbreakers do Darkbreaker things, man. Look at him just go. And he also does a great job at landing this next boulder as well. Just kind of threading the needle, trying to get that out. Almost a nice tornado reposition. But look at the height on that hitbox. It really pays off for him on that one. There's not really much I can say about it. It's just Darkbreakers going off. He takes a superior position by holding down that wall that he's on top of, and just has the boulders and the resources to hold it down for an extended period. I mean, that's really just the tail of the tape there. He does a great job at holding down that wall. Everyone's kind of low from these sort of late engagements, and he just cleans it all up. That's probably 4 exiles in that last little engagement on that alone.
And when you watch that replay, that is a heartbreaker. Did you see how
Man.
high that stone raised up to connect onto Megaverse at the end there? I swear it looked like he cleared that. I know he thinks he probably cleared that as well. That is a heartbreaker right there. But Darkbreakers must be hyped because that was a fantastic play, and he finished it up with the last final stone slam in the building right there. Jeez, OSK, we are having some absolute bangers back to back to back. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, to please press exclamation mark scores. These are changing rapidly right now. You need to stay updated just like we are trying to with who's going to be placing in this first, second, and third. $1,500 on the line, and Darkbreakers wants that money.
I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot of money to be had here, and he is making a good case for himself there, picking up 5 exiles, a lot of them in the final moments of that game. Now, this is going to be very interesting to see how these scores adjust here. Team UT did a very good job of getting a lot of damage and a fair bit of exiles there, but their placement 7th place, not really going to hold up that well. We'll have to see how the rest of this event plays out for them, but a bit of a turn, a bit of a change, a bit of a a shift in the waters, so to speak, shift in the wind. I'm not sure what that saying is, but I'll think of it later. There's a bit of a shift going on with all these placements here. Team IMQT really stepping up to the plate and doing a great job of just letting Darkbreakers do Darkbreaker things. I think that's really what they need to start, what they need to keep doing to carry their event forward. Such a great job. And of course, we have to give a lot of credit to Team G3 as well, taking that 2nd place finish. That player 2 was popping off in that last little circle, and that Megaverse also would really like to have that one back. That he had all the tools available to him, and it's just a little bit of a misplay that he had on some of those stone slams that he wasn't able to seal out. Darkbreakers was literally one shot at a lot of moments, and you have to imagine that Megaverse really kicking himself after that one, but still a great showing from that team overall. Taking 2nd place and a whole lot of damage as well.
Yeah, definitely a great showing for sure. IMQT must be happy with that one. And it's actually 2 different moments that were so unfortunate for Megaverse, because I remember we also saw his character bug out on the side of the ground. He was taking a clean 1v1 and something happened. I'm not exactly sure if it was a puddle that didn't register on the screen, but his character, it's just an unfortunate set right there. But nonetheless, we can't let that
maybe a little bit of lag too.
Yeah, exactly. We can't let it take away from Darkbreaker's performance because he popped off, ladies and gentlemen. We got one more game. Then we're going to take a halftime break, a much needed breather. Then we'll finish up with 4 more matches. So in total, we got 5 games to go. And that's it, OSK. I mean, I don't know if I can handle all these matches right now. It is just getting more and more heaty as we finish these games.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of action going on. I would like to see some of these EU teams really come to life in the second half. We're seeing a lot of NA action is because we are currently on NA servers. This will be the last game on those NA servers for game 4. So another thing to take into account here, all these teams popping off right now, they're all NA teams. So whenever they switch off to that higher ping going to EU, we're going to be getting into some home turf for Wingo's Burst, CNT, and also Team Thunder Thighs as well. We'll have to see what kind of adjustments they're going to have to make in terms of play style, in terms of what classes that they end up picking, what sort of talents they want to run as well, so that they can compensate for a bit of higher ping. But for right now, NA really holding things down, really doing a great job of getting the action going. Hopefully it continues off to this second half. Man, these late games are so crazy right now, and it's just a perfect opportunity for a Stone Shaper or for a Pyromancer to pop off, as well as Toxicologist too, as we saw player 2 getting a fair bit of action in that last little part too.
I was just waiting for Darkbreakers to get CC'd and go down there, low HP, fighting off 3 players.
Yeah.
But then you just saw him connect on the focus mana 58 to knock down 1. Just keeps that tear going. We can talk about that fight all day, OSK. But we
That's
got
so
other
tough.
matches to go. I'm getting word that we are dropping into game 4, so we should have hopefully another banger on our hands. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking around in chat. Thank you for joining us for the Element Fusion Finals. We have had many qualifiers building up to today, and it has been oh so worth it.
Absolutely. And they are just really showing themselves why they are some of the best teams in the world for Spellbreak. I mean, you wouldn't find this bit of action in one of our qualifiers. It really takes all of the teams together that have proven themselves that they deserve to be here, that we're getting all of this action. And this is like it's another thing I want to point out here. If you can get a pop off like Darkbreakers in an event like this, these are again some of the best players in Spellbreak currently in the world. So it's like, yes, I got a nice clip, but I got a clip against the best. And it's just such a great experience. You have to imagine that he's on cloud 9 right now, in addition to everyone else who had to pop off this particular game and this particular finals. But we're going to go ahead and switch off here to Team CNT, already taking control of the Halcyon area. Looks like they might have heard me. Looks like there might be a little bit of an adjustment to be made here, because Dwerky already on the Frostborn class looking to take some early action here. Actually, no conduit on Team CNT as of right now, and Nemo on the toxicologist. There's a lot of adjustments being made here. Now we're going to see G3 get into quite a bit of action as well. We saw earlier that Megaverse thirsted a member of this random team here, and now we're seeing Chaos take quite a bit of action to Street Face as well.
Yeah, nice little scrap right there. They are picking off a bit earlier fights here. They had some nice matches in the start. We're just waiting for this one to resume. We're looking at Ashen Frost. Wind goes Burr, trying to represent here in game 4 on that Tempest. We've talked about it all day, and we go back to G3 just in time to see them mop up the last of that kill right there. G3 Chaos will hold down the F key. Looks like one player from this squad did get away with their life, but they still got to be happy with what they get out of this one.
Yeah, definitely. Chaos doing a good job of going and thirsting out that player there. Pro Gamer 69 going to go back to the lobby, and Chaos sitting with 2 exiles. Very nice start for team G3 here, and really just holding down this lowland area. They're in a very dominant position here, and as I say that, we're going to see Doc going to take out Death right here, looking for the immediate thirst. Definitely don't want him to be rezzed and have to deal with him later. This is going to be Team Thunder Thighs taking out a member of Team Haunt. So unfortunately, it looks like it'll just be the same story for right now. Not really showing up to the event so far. It's a bit unfortunate, but we'll see what they do in the second half. But for right now, Thunder Thighs doing a great job. The EU boys invading NA, just taking control of the Bogmore area.
Yeah, for sure. We're just watching them collect this loot. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, Death did go down. I'd love to see him pop off in some of these matches. I know he has the capacity to, such a talented player, but nonetheless, Thunder Thighs did mop it up, and we see more kills fall in the kill feed. A member of Team Wind Goes Burr does go down. He hasn't been exiled yet, but it's not a good sign when you see that drop in the kill feed. 33 players still left in the lobby. Looks like Thunder Thighs has a long way to rotate to catch up with some of these other teams. Megaverse gets a drop onto Busfire as well. Not 100% sure how that one unfolded, but it's still going to be a benefit for that squadron. See them moving through and trying to rotate aggressively here, not stopping for too much and not making any full direct movements. Looks like Thunder Thighs might be looking for a fight, OSK.
Yeah, maybe so. There's a B line coming out to one of these rotations here. I can't tell if that's a mana vault or maybe just a dominant position they want to get to within the zone. But we'll put a rain check on that as we're going to rotate off. Wolf, unfortunately, going to be exiled by one of our random teams that made it in here. So Wind Goes Bird down a member for the foreseeable future. Very crisp, and it looks like Ashen Frost going to be in a bit of an engagement here. This might be the follow-up from this team. We'll have to see how they do. They are on their off server, so one thing to keep in mind here, Very Crisp might have a little bit of a harder time on the conduit than he normally would. Normally a very, very good player on that conduit class. So looks like Ashen Frost just being completely chased down by 2 members, though. This might be a bit of a messy engagement for them. Would hate to see them go out so early, but someone has to, and it might just be them. 1 HP for Very Crisp, and that might just get turned to 0. That's going to be T-Foul. Going to go ahead and take out Very Crisp, and the immediate thirst coming out. Meanwhile, Doc is going to take out Rush Frog as well as Phoenix. So that would be Team Haunt going down very, very early.
Yeah, unfortunate for them. We did see that last little bit. Chris almost got his teleport off, but I don't know if it was the bug or if it was just a quick misframe, but nonetheless, he did fall. We're looking at UT now. Haven't caught any scraps directly from them. 29 people still left in this game, and UT looks nice and well looted. Elpadog just waiting for maybe a little bit better on the stone. The green probably not quite satisfying enough for him. We'll see what they try to do here. They are, once again, slow rotating through the map, not taking anything too head on, playing patient. And I think they're just relying on their mechanics here, OSK. They're getting themselves into positions where they can just fight off in a 3v3 or even maybe a 3v6, considering how we've been watching them play in the center of Halcyon and some of these other examples.
You know, me and Man of Class, one of our other casters, had a good conversation about this on Thursday. We'll get back to it, though, because it looks like there's a little bit of action going down with Team Elpadog. TTP Elpadog going to go ahead and take out the back line here. Behind enemy lines, just looking to get one more fireball. Not going to quite get it. So that's a nice opportunity for his opponent to reset, but he's not going to take it. That's next going to go down. Elpa looking to follow up on this other team member, and that's going to be Borsalino going down. Now it's just going to be Sinkade left over on team next to Linade here. Kamsky on the hunt down. Elpa with the res, and this might just be the end of their run here for game number 4. We'll have to see how they can get this this rotation going off here. It looks like Elpa might have heard a little bit of a reset going on, maybe a little bit of shields going on. Gonna go ahead and glide into his flame wall and stay in it, saying, I like the fire. It's nice and spicy, but I'm going to get this little thirst off. And that's going to be one less member of team next to Linade. And that's going to be the reveal of the enemy as well, as he definitely has pinged that out, but a little bit separated from his team. So this might be a dangerous place for Elpa to try to get a little bit of action going, but a great job of rotating off to the rest of his team for Untiered.
And something to bring up really quick in the middle of this action, OSK, Elpadog is rocking that skin that came with the face lotion promotion by Proletariat. Elpadog must have that beautiful gamer skin rocking right now, as he's also rocking the moves. He hit some beautiful fireballs on that fight with Borsalino. He also made a really great split-second decision to turn off the fight when Borsa was low and go and help out Kamsky to help that fight out a little bit more. So nice to see UT always coming out with that great communication. Nice to see Elpadog with the nice expensive outfit, rocking it and representing it. And we'll see if he can really take one of these games, especially in this match right now. It would be massive for UT to take a convincing win in Game 4 before going to EU.
Play safe. Would you consider Elpadog part of the 1% of that skin?
The 1%. Not exactly sure what you're trying to refer to on that one.
The top 1% of income, my friend, with that such an expensive skin. Man, it's got to be rolling in that dough and rolling in all that lotion there for his.
You know what it was, OSK? I think he's so confident that he's going to win today's event. He bought the skin pre-order. He preemptively bought it, and he's going to pay it back with his earnings today.
Ooh.
That's I'm hoping, because I know Elpadog is a confident player and for good reason. Very talented Stone Shaper representing with Team UT. Crucial member to their trio, and we'll see what they can make happen here. Elpadog does go straight forward now. Misses a quick fireball, but he's right up in the face here, looking for a couple air shots. Can't quite get them to go. Boulder with the prediction, jumping back up on a high ground. Elpadog did hit that boulder, by the way, on the back side, so now he's going to be a bit more confident, rolling up, throws it down into the cloud, but that toxicologist is long gone. Elpadog now still moving forward, getting boulders over into line of sight where he can, but it looks like they've fully pressured this team off.
Yeah, it looks like he's taken full control of Banehelm Castle over here and not really looking to give it up anytime soon. Great job by Elpa to really just farm out this team here, along with the rest of Team Untiered here. Proving that smooth skin leads to smooth gameplay. We love to see it, but now they're just going to be rotating off, getting a little bit of extra loot here, just sort of min-maxing all the scrolls that they can. That's a lot of rune cooldown going the way of Elpadog here, but we're going to turn off to Team IMQT. A bit of an engagement here in the Verdant Estate area. A bit of a maze going on here, but Darkbreaker's looking to get a little bit of pressure going. Maybe looking to open someone up into that flatter area. I'll tell you what, that's exactly their play. They're looking to push them off towards this valley area. That way Darkbreakers can have another pop-off. I'm predicting it here. We'll have to see if it proves true.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they do spot somebody out here. Darkbreaker's trying to hits nice boulder off the top now, but he does take a frost shot to the dome, taking that flight, but look at this damage coming from range. Darkbreaker's actually in a bit of a pickle, does get away, breaks line of sight just in time, but that was a lot of damage coming in from that outside team. Darkbreaker's gonna need to reset. Marcus, aka Apostle, backing him up, dropping him the knowledge potion, giving him that extra bit of sorcery burst to try to make something happen here. Gotta keep in mind that Kuzi is all the way pushed forward, and now IMQT is pinched between two teams. They make the executive decision to push for the rotation, push to get compact and meet in the middle, but OSK, this is looking like it could break down for IMQT. There's 3 different entrance points to this fight. We have to make sure that they can defend all of these spots while protecting themselves from any teams coming in. Darkbreakers, though, landing these shots over the cliff. Boulders fall. Look at that knowledge potion finally paying off now. None of them really connect, though, and that's unfortunate for Darkbreakers for sure.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, man, it doesn't matter how many people want to approach this position. You know Darkbreakers has all the talent in the world to be able to force them off of his nice little flat hill, this nice plateau that he's got saved up for himself. Look at the stone range that he can just make quick use of, as well as the focus mana that he's so good at landing. You know all the damage mods that he can come out with, and look at this, he's just farming up. This is so much damage going the way of Team IMQT, and Darkbreakers doesn't care. He doesn't care about the stun. He says, that's very, very cute of you, but I'm coming with a lot of damage and you're not gonna get out of it. That's gonna be Cam as 1 HP, gonna be followed up on by Marcus, and it looks like Darkbreakers in a prime opportunity to get this little thirst off. It looks like he'll be looking to rotate off towards this flatter area that we're seeing the shock waves coming out from. Look at all the loot that he can make use of, though. That's going to be team kind of weird. Going to go ahead and lose 1 member and looking to reposition with the flight. Great job by him. And this is just a prime opportunity, again, for Darkbreakers to farm up the lobby. This is a great final zone for him, and that's going to be a quick little disruption going the way of Darkbreakers there. Not letting the res get off. Maybe he's looking to take that hill right there, a little bit of a slope for his shockwave to travel down. So far, this is completely IMQT's area.
Yeah, they are holding this one down, and I believe because of the last matches, they have that confidence, but Kuzi does fall, and now it looks like Darkbreakers is going to have to rotate. Got to keep in mind that there's multiple members on the side of this hill. Goes for the res instead. This is a risky decision. Depends if anybody can really push onto him, but Darkbreakers takes the gamble and succeeds with it. Now he's going to have a chance to turn some damage. Wind is getting this player so low. Another guy goes down. I will not read that one out in the chat, but we got Darkbreakers continuing to roll himself forward, is taking this pressure decision to go for the exile, challenging somebody to come stop him. Darkbreaker's now rolling up, Wind in the offhand. We've seen this 100 times, but can he pull it off once again? Walking up, these ticks of damage are landing, but it won't quite find the exile. Kuzi does the job, takes down Moktola from Team Thunderthighs, and we see 25 players still left here, OSK. This is going to be a chaotic final circle.
It definitely is, but you can see there Marcus getting the final kill onto Doc, so that's going to be Thunderthighs going down by the way of IMQT. So a great job by them making this great aggressive adjustment there. And as we see in the kill feed, looks like Gigabyte got a little bit of damage off to Elpadog as he is down. That's going to be yet another disruption by Not Blank onto Elpadog as well. So a little bit of res coming out, but that's going to be...
Quickly. Lost the OSK audio right there. He was spitting too many facts right there.
Yeah, for real. And Darkbreaker's just trying to hold down this little area over here. Not really, there isn't a whole lot of teams looking at challenges, but look at the zone. This is going to be great for Team IMQT. This is their game to shine. This is their game to take all the exiles that they can, all the game to take the first place placement. Darkbreakers could have a field day out here. Look at this area. This is beautiful for him.
Well, 100%, he's just rolling this one down, and while he's doing this, his teammates are also putting in work on other squads. He may have overextended, though. QZ does take down Dworky. Darkbreakers gets away just barely. Skin of his teeth is going to have to use his Stone Skin passive to try to regen a little bit of armor. That Knowledge Potion did get drank. Nice call from there, right there. Megaverse does get a kill into Marcus, though, so it looks like this team is in a bit of trouble. Can Darkbreakers pull out another clutch? Kuzi is down to his 50 HP limit. Darkbreakers is now making it rain with the boulders, but only one connects. Excuse me, 2 follow, but player 2 now is the focus of attention as he has his Outbreak off cooldown now, trying to make an assassination happen. Rolling back with his team, G3 is in trouble, and player 2 is going to have to mop up. Can he hit the snipe? Not just barely missing off the bottom side. Casper, Megaverse, and Chaos are all over the kill feed as we now have a 3v3 remaining. This may be a 3v2v1, but we'll see the results here as player 2 goes right for the kill. Misses just barely on the backside of that Toxic, following it up now. It gets down onto blindside, and this looks like a breakdown, OSK. The game may be over, and G3, I think, has taken it.
I'll tell you that might be the case, but Chaos is very low himself. Needs to be very careful for any sort of rotation coming out from the enemy team. This is going to be player 2 getting it, and that's going to be the final XL on the Curse. That's going to be Team G3 getting first place for game number 4, and that's the end of the NA half of the Element Fusion Finals.
Nice little run from G3 right there. We've been waiting for that all day, OSK. They've been playing well. I cannot discredit G3, but they needed that last oomph, that last bit of work to take a game, and especially before we go to EU. That's crucial for how this game and how this tournament will play out. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, to hit exclamation mark scores as you're seeing a couple people in the chat do. That keeps you guys updated with where these teams are placing. We update the scores as soon as possible. And we got to go to halftime, OSK. I want to watch more Spellbreak right now, but we need a bit of a breather.
I'll tell you what, you'll get to watch a lot of Spellbreak. We'll have to wait to cast it, though, for the second half. That's the real kicker here. But plenty of action coming for you guys right after this little break, so stay tuned. And I'm really excited to see who's going to really show up on the EU side of things. I believe in NA that we've had, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've had a different winner every game. No, that's actually incorrect. Looks like game 1 and game 3 were both taken by Team IMQT. So very, very nicely done on the placement side of things. Again, you can check your scores by pressing exclamation scores. There's plenty of updates still yet to come out here, but there is a lot of shift going on with some of these placements. And a lot of these placements are not what I would have expected here. I have my own picks. I have my own opinions on who I thought would be at the top, but you can see that's getting shifted around quite a bit.
I mean, well, we did talk in the pre-broadcast, OSK. We were saying how there is literally any team of these 10 can take home the first place prize. I know there is some premonition, there is some belief in the community about which team here is the best, but I truly believe any of these 10 teams, if they pop off at the start of the event, I know that they have a chance to win it. Always interesting to see these types of things play out. Remember to keep yourselves updated with the score so you can watch where your favorite team are placing. But I believe, OSK, it's time to put it over to the halftime break.
Absolutely. Will these teams keep the momentum going, or will a new challenger rise up to the occasion and take the first place finish? Stay tuned, guys. We'll see you right after the halftime break.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from the halftime break. We have 4 more games to go, but just to recap where we're at so far, in first place, there is Untiered, aka UT, with 1.680 points. And then we got in second place, there is the team of IMQT closely following them with 1,587 points. Third place is currently G3 as well. And they are only following that second place by about 40 points. OSK, this is an extremely close event following the 4 games, and this is going to come down to the absolute wire in the final 4.
Absolutely, man. It's going to really depend on which EU teams are going to show up here. Obviously, team next to Lineade from the EU side of things are the most higher up, so they will have more of an opportunity than, say, CNT or Win Goes Burr, but the score difference isn't really all that much, so there is still plenty of opportunity, and we are, again, only taking the best 6 games out of 8 to sort of eliminate that sort of RNG factor of Battle Royale as much as we can. So the worst 2 games of these teams will be dropped, so that is something to be to keep in mind, especially for teams like IMQT and for teams like UT. They can be so consistent between all these 8 games, but at the end of the day, it's only their best 6 that count, and if Team IMQT are able to drop some of their lower scoring games, then they can really just carry this one out. But Team Next to Lineade, a prime opportunity for them to really show up on their home server. We'll have to see if Next can channel the energy of that inner toxicologist. We know he likes to run Borsellino on the Stone Shaper as well. And of course, we have to keep an eye on Team CNT. This is very, very important for them specifically. Yes, they're not really doing that well in terms of score right now, but they always show up on the EU servers, especially on the EU servers. They're probably the most polarized EU team that I've ever seen out here. So while they may not do as well on NA, you can be damn sure they're going to be popping off here in the second half.
Yeah, well, they need to if they want to put themselves back in the running. I mean, the first, second, and third place are very close right now, but there is a decent drop off to fourth place. I believe it's about 400 points, 500 points around that range. So that is not insignificant. That is one full game of playing your heart out, a 500-point round like that. So it's going to come down to some teams having to show up and play a pop-off performance. We talk about it quite often, but your strategy cannot be linear when you come into these events. If you are in a place like CNT right now, you have to start playing aggressive. There's no option except to have some big games right now. I think that adds an added element of excitement to these games. There's going to be a lot more pressure on these teams to perform in certain situations. I'm excited to see who can come out on top here, OSK.
Yeah, it's time for what we call limit testing. We're going to see just how well you can W key into your opponents, even at the highest caliber, because you're in ninth place, you're in 10th place, you're in eighth. You don't have the opportunity to play it safe. You have to go out there and you have to get as many exiles, as much damage as you can. Whether or not you get first place doesn't matter. You need those exile and damage points, or you're not going to stand a chance. So I'm expecting a lot of aggressive drops here coming into the second half. And if that doesn't happen, then we might just run away with these top 5 placements you're seeing now. There really needs to be an adjustment.
I mean, I want to say one thing about the games we've seen so far, though. There's only been one match where there was a convincing end game. That was game 4 with G3 slowly bleeding out the remaining teams. But other than that, it has come down to a nail biter in games 1, 2, and 3. In all of the games, the final circle ends up with about 20 players and something along those lines. There is a lot of variability that can happen in these games. We talked about how there's a bit of a gap between 3 and 4. Still a chance to make it up. 2 games get removed. The scores start to come together. They converge slightly once you calculate the 6 games. I really think this might come down to a calculator finish where we pull out the TI-83s, we double check the math and make sure that everything lines up, OSK.
I'll tell you what, joke's on you, Mr. Play Safe, because I got my TI-84 plus CE, baby. We got it all out right here. I had no idea you were going to say that, but I'm glad the opportunity presented itself, my friend. I have all the calculations ready. It's time to get down to the wire. But in any case, I do want to point out here that, yes, while Untiered is currently sitting in first place, a lot of players had this notion in their head, and maybe to an extent some of us casters up here, that they looked untouchable coming from their first qualifier. It's really proving to be a much closer bout than what we were expecting, I think.
Oh, 100%. I mean, when we came into this, especially when I was watching the replays of all the qualifiers before today, watching UT stomp out that first qualifier was a little bit scary. It's very nice to see other teams come up here, show no fear. We saw the Darkbreakers. It wasn't against UT, but we've seen the Darkbreakers show up against some of these other top teams. Players are ready to try to take the throne. And it's really exciting to see it all come together in this type of event where we've had qualifier after qualifier, teams having opportunities to show themselves. Now is when it matters. Now is when there's $1,500 on the line. Can you show up, or are you going to go home with nothing? That is what is on the line in the remaining 4 games. You talked a little bit about how moving over to EU affects players' latency, and I also want to bring up just the point you did. CNT is a team that consistently moves over to EU and suddenly becomes a god squad. That's not just a coincidence. They start playing on lower latency. Their high mechanics start paying off. I'm really hoping to see them make a miracle run.
Man, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be them. And I'm telling you right now, do not put it past them. The only thing that's going to hold them back is their NA games. Will their EU games be enough to completely overshadow 2 of their NA games? That's going to be the big question. It's not just a matter of can they get a few pop-offs. They literally have to pop off every single EU game if they're going to have a chance to take first place. Or even at this point, I would wager get into the 3rd place argument for some of the prize pool. So, man, they have a lot of ground to cover, but if anyone's going to do it, I would put my money on CNT. If anyone's going to do it, if anyone's going to get that miracle run, it's going to be them. But at the same time, you cannot discredit team next to Lineade. They are another EU team going into their home turf, and comparatively, they did much better on NA than CNT did. And while they may have the kind of the polarization going in their favor to CMT, we have to imagine next to Lineade is going to really, really welcome that reduced latency that they're going to be taking advantage of. So definitely keep an eye on them. And at the same time, Team UT, Team IMQD, and Team G3, they're all used to that EU ping as well. They've practiced on it. They have plenty of experience from past events. So while we're saying that maybe some of these EU teams can come and pop off, they really have their work cut out for them, as some of these NA teams adjust very well on their off region.
Yeah, I quickly also want to bring up, as we wait for this next game to start and we have an opportunity to talk about some of the teams that are playing today, I want to give a massive shout out to Team KW, aka Team Kinda Weird. They're playing fantastic Spellbreak so far today. They are in 5th place, and so far we've only really been talking about teams 1 through 4, but we have to give them credit for coming out here and playing some fantastic matches of Spellbreak. They've been contesting final circles consistently. They've been dealing damage in the mid game with long rotations. These are the types of things you want to see out of competitive teams, and to watch KW start and pop off here, always nice to see. Speaking of KW, we are watching Not Blank pop some shots off. Also in the kill feed, you see Casper and Cursed dropping off a full team, and Rush Frog also getting a player down. Very hot start here, but Not Blank can't quite hit any of these shots. You can't blame him considering he's shooting about halfway across the map at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And this is really just Casper and Cursed on the Team C side, just clearing out the lobby here, making sure that's only contestants left right here. So hopefully in the future that won't be the case, but for right now, they are going to get some free exiles to the name here, as well as Rush Frog on Team Hunt. That's another team I want to see do a little better. I mentioned it before, right before Game 3, and, you know, story's the same. I know that they can pop off as well. I just really hope that it's sometime soon, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But for right now, we got Not Blank coming right out here into the Ruby Grove, everyone's favorite dating spot. I will say it every game, and I don't care if you don't like it. So Nigel on Team CNT looking to land a little bit of a frost knife, but it's going to get blocked by the boulder. So we'll have to see how his team repositions here. This team in particular, at least in the qualifiers, they really like to spread out in the early game, and they really like to spread out the opportunities for loot. Looks like they're a little bit more clumped up in this particular event, and that might be cutting into their strategy that they're maybe used to running. So we'll have to see how things change. It looks like Nemo's getting a little bit of pressure onto him, though. They might be in 2 separate engagements on 2 separate squads. Nigel holding down the fort over here, though. He's doing a very, very good job. Nemo already getting the reset. What a fireball! Porcelino gonna go down and sit. That is going to be an amazing pickup by Nigel, and that is an amazing pickup by Team CNT. What a fireball plays.
The second he let that one go, it looked online. Nigel just beaming Borsalino to get the drop, following up a very good engagement from him, but now his team is getting pushed off just a little bit. They know this is a 2v3. Nigel just has to wait 5 seconds to get this potion off before they engage fully. Nemo, you can see, is a bit low, but Dwerky's up there doing some damage. You can see Borsalino's body is still on the ground, and Nigel might just go for the assassination, throws down the firewall, tries to dish out a bit of trade damage, gets a nice direct shot for 36 with Ignite ticking, and Syncade also follows up due to Nemo's pressure. This may be the last member here, as Nigel just looking to eat. One more fireball will do it. Shadow Step is off cooldown. He goes for it right now. Close up top. One more next falls with a beautiful little toe shot from Nigel. 2 different separate kills. Nigel sniping out with the fire, doing some great tracking all the way through. Nice to see CNT pop off at the start, and OSK, it looks like our dreams have been achieved. CNT starting off aggressive.
Yeah, it looks like we have our answer. Who's going to be the dominant team on EU? And it looks like CNT really making a case for themselves that it's going to be them in place of Next Selenade. So Next Selenade definitely going to have to pick it up if they're going to take this one home for some kind of prize pool. But it's definitely not going to be in Game 5. Now we're going to have to see how everything plays out now. We do have Team Wind Goes Burr, though, definitely one that we can't exclude either. They definitely have an opportunity to make a miracle run, beating out CNT in their particular qualifier whenever they had their rematch, I believe in qualifier number 8, if I'm not mistaken. So there's definitely an opportunity for them to pop up as well. I would say the potential is a little bit less so than CNT, given that their score is a little bit more volatile, but we'll see how they play things out here. Very Chris playing a very safe game, just trying to make great use of the range that his Conduit class has. Getting a little bit of damage here and there. Gonna get a little bit of Toxic Cloud in his face, though. Have to be a little bit careful. Thankfully cleared out by the Dragonfire, and now we're back to center. We're back to getting all of these beautiful lightning bolts going in the way of his opponents. Nice stun going to come out as well for some free damage. That's going to be all the shield on his opponent melted off, and his team is doing a great job of following up on these engagements as well.
And as you can see, Very Crisp actually opted to go for the Rune Swap Conduit teleport in the pocket, though. Very interesting to see him pull this out in Game 5. Wolf goes down to player 2. You know that squad is getting engaged on front side. Ashenfrost has to be careful with how far he pushes up now, as Very Crisp tries to find an alternative angle. Moving down into the crevice here. Gonna look for Wolf, maybe try to walk up for the res, but it looks like that team got pushed too hard, OSK. It's going to be a too stiff of a recovery to try to push this one back. And I think Team Wind Goes Burr is going to just have to back off and hope that Wolf can crawl his body over towards them. It's not enough, though. Megaverse predicted that movement, came through, held down the F key, and finished it off. Now Team Wind Goes Burr is stuck with just 2 members, and that is a tragedy. Also considering that Wolf is one of the crucial backline elements of this team. With that Frostborn, you can play on the top ledges with a little bit more potency, but now they're missing that element, OSK.
Yeah, definitely. They're obviously missing one elemental class. It's going to be Frost, definitely out of their team there. But we'll have to see how things shape up here, as it's just proving that for Team G3, latency isn't everything. And that's one EU member already down for Team Wingo's Burr. So they're definitely going to have to pick it up here going later on. It looks like our only hopes for an EU pop-off might just be onto CNT, currently in 9th place, but we'll have to see how high they can get. They're doing a good job of keeping their damage up, obviously taking out another EU team of Next to Lineade, who were in 4th place at the moment. So we'll see how things shape up for them. It's always going to be nice to see, like, one day in competitive Spellbreak, if we can get some sort of land tournaments, how these things are going to play out where we don't have to switch regions. That would be a dream, but that's not the case for right now. So we'll have to see how things play out for today. Looks like Team UT going to do a great job of rotating off to Stonetooth Mountain here. Very dominant position that they're going to find themselves in. And looks like Elba Dog rocking a little bit of Darkbreaker build because he does have that wind offhand. No fervor that we normally see from him, but that's all right, because it is working out well for him, as we can tell by the scores. Now we're going to hop on to Team Haunt here, who is having a bit of a better start than we've seen from the NA side of things. Bit of an oxymoron going on with this team, but, you know, it's a good one for them.
Yeah, it definitely is. You see Haunt now just pushing up forward, as you kind of mentioned there. Rushfrog just getting off a little bit of lightning, coming in his way from the side, looking to move up here with the Toxic offhand Pyro main class. Throws out a couple air shots, gets one to go, but his opponent's just putting on that pressure. Death actually disrupts Darkbreakers, which is going to be massive. Rushfrog now gets a new angle, coming back in onto his opponent, gets one fireball, but still sees that HP exchange and has to be careful. Dodges the CC nicely and continues this tracking. Rushfrog doing a good job of looking to burst out that opponent. His whole team is still alive, but not quite healthy. Phoenix has no armor to speak of. Rushfrog now is just trying to take a pot to recover. Definitely you see that Finders Keepers coming out for him, not giving him those combat stats that some other talent choices would give him, but now he's going to throw out the DF. Doesn't quite get the burst that he was looking for with it. Marcus, aka Pasta, goes down to Dworky in the kill feed, and it looks like Haunt OSK is on the back foot of this fight, trying to climb up a mountain to bring themselves back in.
Yeah, speaking of a mountain to bring themselves back in, we do see Darkbreakers and Marcus not going to be completely thirsted out, so maybe there's an opportunity for Q-Kuzi to get them up. Keep an eye on the kill feed for feedback onto that sort of aspect, but we do see G3 making themselves known again. They do have another disruption onto Talika, and that's going to be Nemo taking out Phoenix. This might be Team CNT looking to roll up Team Haunt. It looks like that might be the case here. The two pre-alpha teams who were so prominent in the past going off on it. Looks like Team Haunt on the losing end of this engagement, having to dip out of the zone. Very low health. Another fireball going to connect. A lot of lightning coming out as well. This might just be the end for Mr. Rushfrog. This might just be the end for Team Haunt. Team CNT is here in a big way. That's going to be the thirst onto death, and that's just what he's going to get. Death.
Rushfrog did manage to get an HP pot though, so he won't quite go down yet to the storm. Recovery with 3 stacks is helping him survive quite certainly, but we got to move over to the action now. CNT, we're the ones dealing the damage in that fight. You see Dworky with 2 kills to his name, rocking the conduit, switching up the class just a little bit for himself, as that focus mana thirsty as well on the build. We'll see if he can make it all work out. 24 players left. OSK, the pace of this game is starting to match the previous games of 3 and 4. We're getting into a sort of lull here where people fight early, mid-game separate, and come back together at the end for a chaotic final circle. That looks like what we're shaping up to be here too, as Dworky is just positioning himself nicely on the top corner. Now that he's on EU, he's feeling that tracking. He's feeling the Kovacs training come out for him as he looks to try to hit some of these deep lightning strikes. You see his teammate Nemo's up front, dealing that damage, trying to assassinate on the toxicologist. CNT is making their move now as Nemo takes down Programmer 69. 2 other teammates left on this squad. Dworky rolling up, dealing that quick lightning damage. Quick ticks of 11 and 12, and now you see him finish the kill. Not quite though. Has to back up with the spring step. Going to be off cooldown quite soon here. Dworky just doing a really good job of keeping himself moving, trying to assess every target coming his way and dish out that conduit spacing. His teammate Nemo though is getting pushed. Dworky's going to have to try to respond and try to make up for this separation. Throwing it down now. Rushfrog gets bursted by Dworky, and maybe Rushfrog just went a little bit too far into that engagement.
Yeah, there's also a big zone that he has to make up for as well. And we see in the kill feed that Moktola is going to get the final hit onto Phoenix Sue. So that will be Team Haunt out a little bit early yet again. Unfortunate for them, but very fortunate for the rest of the competitors here for Thunder Thighs. We'll have to see how these things unfold here. Unfortunately, very crisp. Looks like gonna lightning strike himself. Unfortunately, lightning does in fact strike twice in the same location. Unfortunately, that location is very crisp's head. So unfortunate for Team Wind Goes Burr, but we're gonna have to see how things end up. Actually, that is how they're gonna end up there. Ashen Frost is gonna go ahead and get burned out by Megaverse, and it looks like due to the kill feed here, Very Chris might have just gone down to the zone. So unfortunate for him. So that's gonna be Wind Goes Burr already out of the game here. And we're going to be getting into the late game. A little bit less people than what we've seen on the NA side of things, but I'm not complaining. Maybe a little bit more methodical play, maybe a little bit more surprise play, as Chaos is going to get a little surprise right there. Has to burn a Shadow Step to escape that one, and also have to get a little bit of fancy feet going to avoid all of those conflagration fireballs.
Yeah, nice movement from Chaos to keep himself on his toes, avoiding a lot of that AoE fire damage coming out from the the conflagration, and now we see him land a beauty onto Not Blank, sniping right through that line of sight to connect and finish. We got to imagine that his team will be pushing up on that body, trying to spot out the final members, looking for the angle now. Chaos just barely misses that frost shot, getting up onto another high ground. He's looking to hit these as he's just connecting back to back. One more to go, gets it over the top of the explosion. Nice follow right there from Chaos as his team comes to clean up. They do have to be careful though, with 19 people still left in the game. This is certainly not a decided game, but Chaos sneaks that frost over the ledge while his teammate goes and mops it up. Nice play right there. G3 doing a fantastic job of dealing damage while staying compact as a unit.
Man, that's a lot of damage coming out of Chaos's right hand right there. His frost is on point today. And of course, great teammates to follow up. So we'll have to see if he lands this little snipe right here. Let's get back to the action. That's going to be a nice Dragonfire going, by the way, a Chaos. And that's another follow-up boulder by Megaverse. That's going to be Team CNT sat down by Team G3. Looks like the pop-off might not be quite as big as we thought it would be. G3 is out here saying, we're consistent. Doesn't matter what server we're on. We're going to take it either way. And we have Chaos on our team rocking these beautiful snipes. We got Megaverse following up with these boulders. Not much you can do, my friend. Sit down, get ready for the next game.
Yeah, Chaos is such a consistent player in these events, though. I feel like every time I watch him, he's making the right decision. Sometimes it doesn't quite come out and translate into damage, but Chaos just seems like he always knows what his plan is, what his objectives to the match are. He's always watching the game state as he looks to just take this fight now. Jumping down does take a lot of damage off that blown up cloud. He is down to just flesh, spots out this opponent resin, gets one to go, but can't quite follow it up. Kamsky on Pyro goes down to player 2, and it looks like G3 is doing their best to try to mop this up, but none of their teammates other than player 2 have much HP to spare. Chaos just weaves one onto Gigabyte. He is timing these shots beautifully, OSK.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, man, that right hand's got to be tired, because that's another bit of damage. Looking for the flick, but not going to get that one quite yet. The luck had to run out at some point. Thankfully, it's not enough for his exile. Now that will be a little bit of a disruption going by the way of player 2. This is going to be a team, looks like Curse, that Seaside coming out, finally showing themselves out in this event right here. EU being their friend. And now we see Chaos with the quick little reset. Not quite close enough to get player 2 up. He's going to eat Dragonfire for trying for a little bit too long. Trying to land the Frost. One more will do it. He's floating. There it is. T-Foul will go down to Chaos. This might just be a turn in the scores, ladies and gentlemen. Have to just wait and see how this unfolds. But Chaos in a great position, great amount of cover to land these Frosts. Just needs to connect onto one opponent. Unfortunately, that will be 3 in a row where he does not. That's a nice fireball coming out, though. That's a lot of Ignite going on his way. There is no shield on his opponent. That's going to be a lot of zone damage, though. Needs to be very, very careful. Needs to reposition as well. Oh, man, this could be the end of Chaos if he's not careful. It's looking very, very muddled, and that will be the end. Cursed is going to take him out. That's Seaside with one more opponent to go. And that's Team UT going to go down. Seaside showing themselves up here.
Nice fight from Seaside right there to stay calm and stay collected as they moved into those final fights. Beautiful to see them show up on the board. We know that Kirst and Casper have some good synergy when they play together, and that is just it on display for you guys. Nice little W in that Game 5 situation. We still have 3 more matches to go. You talked about how CNT needed a pop off right there. They started off so good, but I just don't think the placement was going to be quite enough. They needed to crack into that top 10, in my opinion, to really start making some waves. But talking about the game itself, G3 Chaos and the rest of his teammates had such a great effort to try to push it off, but Seaside just had the position. They played to their advantage. They kept their HP and armor tracked up, did a fantastic job finishing off game 5.
Absolutely. It's a great placement from them, taking them through the rest of the second half. Great job for them, taking that early mountain and really just having the best angle that they can get to land their fireballs, to land their boulders, and also to land their frost as well. It's always a great time to have that high ground. But of course, we can't take anything away from Team G3 either. They did a great job, especially Chaos, of farming up so much damage from his frost. You have to imagine it's going to translate to a lot of points. And as we're updating our scores here, you can press exclamation scores in the chat right there to see how they're updating. We'll be able to see it just the same as we are here on the casting desk. Team G3 putting together quite a bit of damage, quite a bit of exiles. While they may not have gotten the first place finish, definitely coming out in the best spot for that game.
Yeah, this event is really shaping up to come down to the wire here. You also saw UT, they did end up in that final zone. They are the team to push out of first place, currently holding that spot, I believe. We'll have to see if that changes anything in terms of placement, but they did have an opportunity right there. If UT had managed to wipe the rest of that lobby, pull it off right there with 10 teams or 10 players remaining, it would have changed everything. But G3 staying calm, working their way through, unfortunately losing to Seaside, who was playing a very, very great positional game. Still, this is the type of game you want to see when you're looking for a close qualifier. There was no team really pulling away there. All of the teams that are contesting for this money prize finish all finished off well there in game 5. Nice to see for sure, OSK.
Yeah, definitely. They're keeping the competition nice and lively. And to my little bit of disappointment here, I'm really wanting to see more out of these EU teams. You're on your home server now, no issues with the ping, hopefully. So this is your best opportunity to come out with a very, very nice pop-off game. So I'll have to see if anyone's going to show up for game 6, 7, or 8. And hopefully they'll have some good games to drop off for their best 6 out of 8. And again, we are taking the best 6 out of 8. So your worst 2 games, don't even worry about them. They're out the window. They're in the trash can. They're wherever you want them to be, but they're not on our score sheet. So we'll keep that in mind going forward. And of course, we still have 3 more games to get through. So let's talk about who's really showing up here. Of course, we had Seaside taking that first place finish, but I would really like to see a little bit more out of Next Selenade. I feel like that they had a prime opportunity to really do well on their home server and just didn't really go their way by way of CNT.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I do want to talk about for Seaside is that we haven't done a great job of talking about them up until now. They just snuck up and took that win, but I do think that Kirst and Casper have been playing some really solid matches so far. They had one unlucky start in the first 4 matches, but to see them come out, we need to be able to talk about them and give them their due credit because they deserve it. They've been playing some good matches. Nice to see them take that win. I don't know if they're going to be able to follow this one up in 3 other games and push themselves into a spot to take home some money, because at the rate that this is going, they're going to need to repeat that performance again and again and again in these final games. They can do it. Any team involved in this event can pull off something like that. Everybody in here is talented, but it becomes a lot harder when the people you have to do it against are teams like UT, KW, and G3 OSK. It's not as easy.
No, definitely. I would venture to say it's quite difficult to be able to do that. So doing the best that they can, of course, but just need to turn on the gas just a little bit more. Now, I still want to keep our eyes on Team CNT here. We can see on the score sheet here, they had almost as much damage despite going out in 7th place as G3 did. So very good job from them to really farm up the damage, and the Exiles, plenty of points going their way. Just need to improve on the placement there for them to really shine and maybe finish even in the top 3. But we're going to find out right now as we're going to get into game number 6. And we're going to see right away that Moktola is just farming up the lobbies here. We have Thunder Thighs taking the first squad wipe, followed by Team Haunt going to take out Wind Goes Burr. Very, very bad day if you're an EU fan with Wind Goes Burr. And that's going to be another disruption. And that's going to be Blank, going to be taken out on Team KW.
Yeah, Doc from Team Thunderthighs making a nice move to push Blank into a lower spot. He should get rezzed here, but they actually spotted out. Cam is 1 HP, is greeting for this res. He might fall now. He took about 110 damage total for trying to pick up that res at a bad spot. Maltola 1 will finish it up, so Thunderthighs getting some crucial disrupts early. I don't know if they'll be able to finish it off on Gigabyte. He is rocking Conduit, and he has already found his rune. Might be difficult to track him down, but nonetheless, these two exiles are just cash in the bank for this squad going further.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of cash in the bank, Moktola going to seal that one out on the Cam, so that's already more cash going their way. Gigabyte, though, I don't know where he is. It looks like he's not even. It looks like he's not even on the mini map. He might have just completely abandoned, not Blank here, which probably is the play. I mean, you would want to. Do you really have that amount of confidence to take a 1v3 against one of the best squads that we have to offer here? Obviously, one of the top 10 between NA and EU, as they have made it into the finals. So maybe the abandonment is the play. Going to play for a little bit more placement, and on his conduit class, going to be plenty of opportunity to farm up a little bit of damage at the very least. Marcus in a bit of a pickle though. Looks like between a rock and a hard place and a flash freeze, gonna have to dip out real quick. The ignite will allow for some tracking for his opponent here. And it looks like they might be up against Haunt, as looks like Phoenix is going to go ahead and go down. Meanwhile, we have Team CNT taking a lot of exiles there in the kill feed, and we have, looks like Rush Frog going to take out Darkbreakers. That's a big pickup here, so we'll have to see if Haunt can seal this one out now that the premier player from Team IMQT is down. Marcus trying to land a very difficult vertical frost. Not going to work out for him, but it's also not going to work out for Rush Frog, as he's going to get completely decimated by QQZ.
Yeah, Haunt will fall right there. IMQT manages to stay alive. You see Marcus picking up Darkbreakers, dropping him a quick potion to chug once he gets up, has to replace it. It looks like Darkbreakers is not interested in your charity, Marcus. He wants to earn his own potions, I assume. We got 25 people left in the game, though. IMQT could make a massive push here into first place if they can have a huge game. They need multiple exiles with big damage, and they need to be able to translate that not only into the scorecard, but into the placement itself. They need to get into one of those top 3 finishes to get that extra little boost. This is really coming down to the wire in terms of the scores. So these little small differences, these little variables are going to be what decides the final winner most likely. Looking over at Next to Lineade, we got Next rotating through, looking for a bit more loot, is going to get that epic chest off, and the scrolls are going to be nice and consistent for him as he keeps reading up that fervor. Definitely a talented, definitely a good talent to have when you're fighting in these one-on-one situations. Fervor with that fire can really blow somebody up and blow them up quickly.
Yeah, not to mention Focus Mana. Looks like he's going to get all the pieces of the puzzle here. All the pieces of the Millennium Puzzle are coming into effect here. Going to summon up that nice little Pharaoh tech, and we're going to get some nice damage out here. Thankfully, Next has done the best job of surrounding his opponent here, along with Borsellino. This is going to be a lot of damage coming out here. The Tempest is going to have a bad day. Everyone knows that you can't fly against a conduit, and that's going to be the end of Pro Gamer 69. You might be pro here, but Next is more of a pro. I have more of aim. I have more of damage. What a beautiful collateral on Moktola there. I actually didn't know it could collateral. That's very, very nice. But anyway, going to get back into the action here as they are fighting outside of the zone. Team Thunderthighs doing the best that they can to sort of seal this one out here. That's going to be QQZ getting Millsy, though. This is Team IMQT. They might trade thirsts here, but it looks like Thunderthighs is going to completely rotate up to try to prevent any sort of disruption that the other team has. So IMQT doing a good job of keeping them off their opponent, or keeping them off their teammate here. Just looking to get some damage. That's going to be Doc going down to Team T-Dark B. And this might just be the end of Team Thunderthighs here.
Yeah, Moktola should be falling here. Unfortunately, getting a quick little spike as he's just going to back up into the storm, trying to do what he can with the common lightning, but the damage is just not there for him. Pushing up forward, this opponent should be able to finish him off. That is the Darkbreakers taking out Team Thunderthighs. 20 people left in the game. Marcus should be able to get rezzed here. They should be okay to just pick them up and recalibrate their attack. We got Kamsky now on the perspective. We'll see what he can do. You see T-Fel is a little bit low on the HP. See if Kamsky can try to mop up some of these players and front of him, throwing out the Frost, and he gets a
Ooh.
73 over the top. The focus mana giving him that extra multiplier, that extra bit of burst, as he is going to make the executive choice to just push back with his team. It looks like there's multiple squads rolling up on UT, so it's good for them to just maybe reposition, take a quick breath, and try to get another attack out on them, OSK.
Yeah, but it'll only be as much of a breath as the enemy teams allow. As you can see on the back end, towards the Dust Bowl area, my mistake, or maybe towards Lux Vault more accurately, they are taking quite a bit of fireballs, but they are putting themselves in a position to where they can really take this fight very well. Kamsky on the nice double dip of the Vanishing Mist there, not having to burn an extra rune charge or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and dive in, disguising the Frost very, very expertly. Looking for another opportunity for an outbreak, though. Going to land 17. Not the full damage, but still enough to melt off the shield. Going to just barely not connect on that Frost, but looking to reposition. He is completely out of that knowledge buffed rune charge and the knowledge buffed sorcery. So having the full reset here, thankfully he has a good team to fall back on, as they will go ahead and cover him for the reset. Now looking to re-engage, but he is going to get shot by a Frost. So needs to back off just a little bit, get that extra little bit of reset off. Hopefully the rest of his team can rotate up and take advantage of this high ground that they now have. But they might just opt to back off. You know, this might not be the best opportunity for them to really pop off. They might just play this for the late game, as it looks like the other team is getting the better trade out of this.
Yeah, you also got to remember that they have the chance to just take on the rest of this tournament. If they win these next 3 games, then it is a sealed deal. So for them to play a bit more safe, it does make sense in terms of where they're placing. Nemo takes a massive Frost Knife, though. Going to have to reposition. You see that there's a Stone Shaper hiding in this house somewhere. Nemo potting up on the side of the window, waiting for his chance to get in there. Throws down the Toxic Cloud, moves his way forward. Doesn't actually look for that Outbreak Slap, using it more for a bit of mobility. Does get the reset, though. Focus Mana is his choice of talent. He might be able to get a huge burst on somebody, but they're looking a little bit separated now. Nigel does get disrupted, and CNT is going to have to make a major push to try to pick him back up. It is a risky move to slide forward, and it looks like they might just sacrifice him, OSK. I don't think they're going to make that push, and it is called. Cursed does hold down the F key. Nigel goes down. CNT is left with just 2 remaining.
I'll tell you what, man, Seaside really showing up today. They're doing a great job of getting the better part of these trades. Nemo going to land a nice shot out there. And there's another one, 2 in a row. That's going to be Casper going down. But Nemo's taking quite a bit of damage for all the damage he's dishing out. So he does need to be a little bit more careful on the approach of these squads here. Unfortunately, not going to connect on that Frost himself, but also going to take a lot of damage. Now he runs into a completely other squad, going to take control of this area here, trying to get a little bit of float out with all the flash freezes and completely deter his opponents from following him. Seems to have worked out well so far, but there's still a lot of separation between him and Dworky. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get out of this unscathed, but that's exactly what they need to do if they're going to come out on the winning side of this. Thankfully, all his knowledge charges are all the way back up. Looks like he might have had quite a bit of knowledge charges, as it looks like three charges for his rune, and also 3 charges for his sorcery. So plenty of tools to be had here. Definitely don't want to waste, and that's going to be a nice shot. There was barely any enemy to see right there. That must have been just the very, very top of the hood, as he just nails it. As now he's just rotating out, trying to make up good ground. Hopefully not fall in the fracture right here, but we'll see what happens.
Generous from Dworky right there to drop Nemo off that safeguard potion. Going to try to get his teammate a little bit more healthy before they fall into the final fight. 6 people left, though. I think this is the least amount of players going into a final circle we've had so far today, and that should tell you enough about how these games have been going in general. Just super chaotic final fights, as Syncade and his team will look to push up now. They are fighting from bottom side to a high ground. We'll see what they can do with this type of effort. Borsalino is on the far side, as Syncade decides to really back up and maybe get a bit more space for himself. Don't know exactly what this call is. He might be telling his team that he wants to rotate far side first before going into that direct fight. They are popping up a couple shots, though. Syncade takes a massive Frost Knife incoming. He has that focused mana. He is able to deal damage consistently if he's able to get the shots to go. But the key is just not leaving yourself exposed to take shots like that, OSK. Syncade is going to have to take a second to reset, as now they're going to get jumped on. They have to just do what they can to make it work. They're going to push backwards. Syncade S-key dashes, throws out a couple fireballs, doing some desperation shots here, looking for new angles. But OSK, they are just doing what they can with so much pressure pushing onto them. Multiple teams are going to be able to spot them on this low ground, and they got to move, and they got to move quickly.
Yeah, this would be a prime opportunity for them to just completely hard rotate off to the maze if they can. You can see it's pinged out on the mini-map here. That's definitely where they want to go, but they're just finding so much difficulty with all these teams here to make anything, to make anything very worthwhile. So I'm definitely gonna have to play this one just a little bit smarter than they currently are. They're really lingering around this hill, and I'm not really sure why. Syncade is taking a lot of punishment due to that, and it's really just completely excluding him out of the fight that Borsellino is currently in. As you can see, he's not going to be able to take a 1v3 here. He does get the shield almost completely off. Thankfully, he had a little bit of pre-pot going on, so he does get that one back. But yeah, this is definitely not the best place to be, and it's going to be completely closed out as well as we're seeing the zone come in. Right where Syncade is where the barrier of the zone is going to be here in a few seconds. So definitely need to do a better job of rotating off. This is not an ideal place for anybody. Only Borsellino can really make good use of this flat ground as he is the Stone Shaper, and no one's rocking in an offhand stone at this point. So Syncade trying to hold it down as best as he can. Borsellino going to be the lone Stone Shaper again to try to keep them safe. That's a nice shot. That's Elpadog going to go down. This is a great advantage that they built for themselves. Now they can sort of rotate off to that mountain. Looks like they're pinging it out right here. This is the prime opportunity for them to rotate up. Good job by them to finally get something going, and it's looking like that's exactly what they want to do. Hopefully Syncade can find a nice angle for their Frost, but playing it very, very safe.
Yeah, Sinke doing some nice movement on the low ground here, trying to dodge out all these different little fireballs coming through, throwing those shots. You can see him just skimming them right over the top of the horizon line, trying to catch some shins exposed. He did hit a beautiful snipe onto Elpadog, who was trying to fly away, and now it looks like Kamsky has also fallen to next. Only Tfal is remaining for Team UT, and that is going to be a desperate state for them. Not 100% sure if Elpadog was able to get rezzed because he did get shot in the middle of the circle. There might have been enough space with nobody completely on him to get picked up, but we can't be sure of that quite yet. Syncade, though, still healthy as next takes down Craig Cusey with a beautiful shot coming through. Syncade, you can see him working his way back up, just peeking his head over, trying to deal damage when he's not too exposed, keeping himself behind that firewall now. Drops down the dash rune. You see how CNT are really staying compact with the fight no matter what. Next does get another snipe. This time it's with a lightning onto Kamsky, or I apologize, Darkbreaker's finished off Tfal to take the kill, and the rest of the kills go down to CNT for credit. Throwing it down though, Syncade just spotted out that res and is going to make this a cleanup effort. Almost gets the snipe onto the last member of IMQT. Can't quite get it to reach over the top now. That must be the Darkbreakers standing his way up there, throwing down those boulders from flight. Bouncing the perspective over to next now, taking a quick pot. Focus Mana with no talent stacks, but he's still dishing damage. Throwing out those lightnings, 2+11 on the armor break. Now next, back up on the high ground. Look at him just keep his feet moving, OSK. Always repositioning, always trying to target assess, always looking for more damage that he can push out. Borsellino gets a disrupt of the chaos, and it looks like this squad of Nextelino is just popping off today.
Looks like it, and this is definitely the best build you could ask for on Next side to really take out Darkbreakers and his patented flight boulder strategy over here. As he flies up, this is a prime opportunity for Next to just bolt him down with all these lightning bolts. Still needs to be careful from all these shockwaves, and also be careful from player 2. G3 is in here too. This is a beautiful flank from them, and that's going to be actually Gigabyte as well. How many extra teams are in this lobby? This is Team G3. We have KW. Kukuzi's going to go out, so that's Team IMQT, and it looks like this Darkbreakers getting the last exile into player 2. This is Darkbreakers versus, I believe, Gigabyte. This is absolutely insane. How did they end up in this situation? But this is going to be Gigabyte's game. KW going to sneak that one out. Wow.
Darkbreakers did hit a beautiful focus mana stone slime onto Gigabyte coming down, but Gigabyte just had enough of an HP advantage to just beam the Darkbreakers and finish off that game. Nice W from KW right there, taking a surprise win. Very shocking to see it break down into a 1v1 in a trios tournament, but you do love to see it. Gigabyte staying calm and collected, finishing us off. We only got 2 more games to go, ladies and gentlemen, and the scores are getting tighter and tighter. Make sure you press !mark scores so you can keep on top of where all your favorite teams are ending up. We got 2 more to go, OSK, and I don't know if my heart can take it.
Man, I'll tell you what, Gigabyte pulled that out despite having both of his teammates being exiled in the very, very early game. You remember that? He was completely away, completely abandoned his team due to the early action there. I believe it was in Bogmore that happened. So he ends up fleeing. I tell him to play for placement, and he comes right back and takes first place. It's beautiful. 200 IQ. Couldn't ask for more. And also getting a nice exile to boot. So actually a few exiles. So we'll have to see how their score ends up as it's being updated currently. I also want to give a great congratulations to Darkbreakers as well, being the last member of IMQT, really holding down all these placements. There was another team that sealed out some exiles onto Team UT as well. I think it was a mixture of teams, but Darkbreakers just really holding it down, proving how consistent he is, that he's able to hold down these final zones as well as he is. Great job by really everyone in that lobby, because that was just completely chaotic. There were teams I didn't even think I would see again, and Gigabyte's just saying, "Hey, I'm still in this tournament, and I'm going to take first place."
For sure. And you got to be a little bit disappointed if you're next to Lincade right there. They did look
Yeah.
like they had the dominant position. They had the remaining team of three, but there was just so many external factors pushing in on them. Those teams of just one player left, Gigabyte and the others just dishing out damage from safe positions, finally managing to take that 1v1 and claim the W for KW, aka kind of weird. Nice show up right there from Gigabyte. And we've seen him in so many competitive events before. He is just a consistent presence in these games. Nice to see him show up with a very clutch W, as you mentioned, fighting his way through a solo squad, essentially. We got 2 more games to go, and we'll see if he can keep that momentum up. There is these tight scores dividing these teams. Remember, first place team takes home $750, second place $500, third place $250. These small little differences between scores means hundreds of dollars, OSK. A lot of pressure on on the line for these players.
Yeah, definitely. Tons of pressure and tons of money up for grabs, as you did mention there. Our biggest prize pool yet, thanks to Proletariat for sponsoring and giving us this big prize pool. By the way, before we get into Game 7, if you'd like to contribute to that prize pool, go ahead, that donate button down below here. Get your name up in lights right here across our little donator bar. 70% of what you donate goes towards these prize pools, and 30% will go towards greater production, as well as paying all our beautiful graphics and production staff, and as well as our other staff members. So definitely, if you feel so inclined, go ahead and hit that donate button. But of course, got to get back to these games here. It's looking like we do have a bit of shift in the scores here, and I don't mean that from like just going over the EU side. It looks like there's a lot of NA teams kind of vying for that top 3 finish, and there's quite a bit of shifting going around. In case you want to follow along with us, you can hit the exclamation scores to go ahead and follow along in this beautiful little Google Excel sheet. Follow along with us here. But a lot of volatility coming out from these last 2 games. Definitely something to look out for.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, if you guys have the scorecards open up in front of you, there's only a couple hundred points separating these top 3 teams. Anybody can take it home today. And that is what you must remember as these games start placing out. When you see kills in the kill feed, if you start seeing these top 3 teams lose members early, those have monumental impacts on not only that match, but that now has effect on the prize pools themselves. These are split-second decisions that equal actual money, ladies and gentlemen. So keep that in mind as you check the scores and as we watch these games. OSK is mentioning that we are just about to get into Game 7. 2 more games to go. And another thing I do want to bring up in terms of the player perspective on these tournaments, they're playing over 2 hours and a half of Spellbreak straight. We have to remember that that is quite taxing on the mental. Some people like to say it's just video games, but to stick in these high pressure situations, game after game after game, it takes a lot out of you. So these players have to keep their stamina high, have to stay hydrated, and keep it up as we get into Game 7.
Yeah, definitely. But we're going to hop right in here. We do see Millsy already on the drop here, just getting a little bit of looting going on. We do see one of our top teams, G3. Looks like they might go out with a bang here early on. It's going to be definitely one of their throwaway games if it so happens that way. Megaverse having to do everything he can to try to turn this. Has that epic stone off the drop here and also a belt, but it's not going to be enough. That's going to be Team UT saying, hey, we're actually the top NA team. You better get out of our lobby. We're looking to improve our score as well. It's actually one of your top 3 teams going to go out very, very early. So UT, plenty of opportunity to improve upon what they already have.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a good start for them. They've been playing consistent throughout this event, but to see them start off hot is always nice. Tfal just going to be slamming the ground. He's moved over to that Stone Shaper class. Very interesting to see Elpadog actually moving to the Frostborn decision here. We know that he is a talented Frostborn player. We just haven't seen too much of it in these competitive games. I know Casper's been running Frostborn all day so far to some success. We'll see if Elpadog can mimic that type of play and make something happen here. We also see Next and his team taking out a quick squad wipe onto a non-tournament team, so that's going to be big for them, trying to crawl their way into that first place finish.
Yeah, definitely. This is sort of the team comp on Team Untiered that we normally see whenever they're finished playing seriously, quote unquote. This is kind of what they did in Qualifier 1. They switched around the classes quite a bit. But it's going to be interesting to see how they adjust, though, because now we have Tfal on Stone Shaper. We have Elpadog on Frostborn. I believe we had Kamsky on Pyro. I have to go back and see later on in this game, see what class he's on. But they've very much switched around their strategy here. Maybe it's an adjustment for EU, maybe not. We'll have to see. But they still have a very, very close contest here for taking the top spot. So we'll have to see how that unfolds for them. Here we see Team Wingosburg going to get their final member up. It's going to be back to 3 members. Looks like Chris going to go ahead and disrupt Doc. Beautiful flowing out from Ashenfrost. Yet another switch up. Ashenfrost normally on the Tempest, now on the Stone Shaper. Definitely not what we're used to seeing from him. But let's see if it works out for him.
Yeah, we'll see if he can make that work. It is certainly quite a different class than what we're used to seeing him on, but we'll see if he can make that adjustment. Trying to chase down this final player, just evading him off the top. Very crisp as low as well. Has to be careful as this looks like it might have broken down into a third-party situation. Ashenfrost trying to get these fireballs to go. Wolf does disrupt Millsy, and now Ashenfrost is the one pushing this fight forward. Hits a couple direct fireballs. Nice kill, and Team Thunderthighs will fall to Team Wingosburg. EU versus EU bloodbath. And Wingosburg comes out on top there.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they finish up here. Great job from getting Team Thunderthighs out as early as they did. And we also see Next taking a lot of disruption going towards Casper there, but also a trade back from Cursed. Nemo going to go ahead and get exiled from Cursed. And Nigel going to take out Senke. There has to be a 3-way engagement going on, by the way, of CNT, Next Selenade, as well as Seaside. So hopefully we'll be able to get eyes on that. But in the meantime, we do have Ashenfrost just migrating over to this higher area over here. Now we have Team KW. Looks like in a bit of a fight. A little bit of a different area than what we're used to seeing here. This is a Fever Break, I do believe. Maybe Fever Ridge. I forget the exact name. But either way, plenty of action to be had over here. Cam doing a great job of landing all this damage. The reposition coming out. A little bit of punishment and a little bit of disruption. That's going to be Tfal taking him out, as well as another member from Gigabyte, Vendetto 2000. Another 3-squad engagement plays. This is getting chaotic in a hurry.
Oh, it is, and UT is just looking to continue to push on to Team KW, but KW is trying to fold out of this as fast as possible. You can see from Cam's perspective, just watching Tfal and his team try to beat down on Gigabyte. It does not look like Cam's 1 HP is going to get picked up here. Tfal did hold down the F key onto Ospek, who died earlier in the original fight, and now you can see Tfal just follow the rest of his squad out of here. Cam is unfortunately likely going to time out, and KW is not exactly safe either, OSK.
Yeah, KW definitely in a bit of a pickle here. Team UT definitely not a squad you want to go up against in this kind of environment. Nemo, though, holding down the fort over here just south of Gritfeld, trying to make this sundial not worth traveling on. And it looks like that might just be the case here. He is doing a great job of holding down this area. Having to back up just a little bit. Unfortunately, going to eat a little bit of Dragonfire, but it's not really all that much damage, all things considered. So still doing a good job of holding everything down. CNT definitely getting a lot of early action here. Nice snipe coming up from Nemo. Hopefully there'll be a follow-up here, but no movement options. Thankfully, the cooldowns are back. The rune is just off a cooldown here. Trying to land a Frost. Going to go ahead and land that one. And just looking for the next one.
Yeah, Nemo just getting some beautiful frost snipes to go, but he just got jumped on the backside now. Gonna have to reposition, looking for one of these shots to go. It looks like there's one team fighting off CNT and another team that might look to ambush them, so they have to be careful. Dwerky is down to his last licks. Nemo gets a beautiful quick peek into the toxic spray as well. Ooh, almost gets it off the top piece. Almost got the exile, but is going to have to peel out of here. As you can see, Dwerky did manage to get a full reset with the HP. It looks like he stood in the storm for just a half second and stood himself himself back up on 2 feet. 24 people left in the game, though, OSK. CNT has to make a decisive choice here. They cannot keep bleeding out on the rocks. It is too risky with all of these teams remaining and all of their ability to just jump onto CNT. And don't forget that they need to go off in these games to have a chance at the money. This cannot happen. They cannot fall here.
Yeah, definitely. This is just not a favorable situation for them. They are under so much pressure to do well in this particular one, and it looks like that is just going to not happen here, as Dwerky and Nigel going to go down. Nemo going to be followed up on very quickly. That's Nexalinade firing back from game number 5, going to take out CNT. That looked very, very easy for them, but as I say that, this is Ashen Frost, yet another EU team. Looks like the switch onto Stone Shaper was well worth it, as he will find a nice exile onto Borsellino. And now it looks like Sinkay just going to hold down the fort here, just squatting there in the house, as you can see to the left. Wolf going to go ahead and get the thirst off, so that's a lot of points going towards Win Goes Burr. Just looking for that last little target. Looks like the ping is out. The jib is up. The directions are being followed, and Wolf just trying to land this last little snipe that he can, or the outbreak. Either one works. And not gonna seal it out. Unfortunately, not worth. That's a third party coming in, you have to think. And that's gonna, he's actually not fully exiled quite yet. There we go. Now Sinkay's out. This is Death SB. So this will be Team Hunt collapsing onto Win Goes Burr's position here.
That was so close. Wolf was literally a millimeter away on that toxic spray from finishing off the kill. Heartbreaking to see, but nonetheless, he didn't lose too much for the miss other than the points on the board. Wolf didn't lose his life. He managed to push back with the rest of his team. He's just going to have to find some armor potions to drink up, though. Looking at his inventory, he's completely naked in that aspect, but the shots are landing. Hits a nice frost across the map. No focus managed to increase the damage, so it's just a flat-out snipe. He is sitting with his team. Chris also does not have any armor. This is not looking the most advantageous for Win Goes Burr. OSK, they need to find a new little spot to find some new mana potions, or sorry, some armor potions. They cannot go into the final circle with just their resources. They need more to make it work.
I'll tell you what, this is a very, very bold play they're going for. Ooh. What a snipe, by the way. Wolf saying I got some damage from downtown, but what they're going for here is so bold. They're looking for the complete backside rotation. Plenty of opportunity to run into other squads here. And this is Wolf just making great use of the Vanishing Mist staggering, the spreading sickness that you can make great use of here on the off platforms. This is going to be Team UT doing a great job of taking this dominant position. But it looks like they're going to trade off of it as someone else has taken it here, and UT being forced off, having to go towards the lower part of the mountain. Thankfully, their position isn't, it's not too bad, you know? It's definitely something that they can work with here. Kamsky looking like he's doing pretty good on the Pyromancer, just off of the Toxicologist build that he normally runs. And yeah, found a nice bush, looking to stay in it for right now.
Yeah, definitely nice and cozy sitting in this bush, but we're getting over to the Darkbreakers now. He has been having a really great tournament so far. Let's see if he can follow it up in the final 2 matches. Him and his team are all fully healthy. Darkbreakers is straying away from his squad just a little bit, though. You see Kuzi and Marcus still sitting on the top of that hill, don't want to engage fully with the Darkbreakers. They're letting him do a little bit of scouting from up top, can throw these boulders from deep. You're about to see one come out most likely, but he actually holds back on it. Doesn't want to quite pull the trigger yet. 14 people left in the circle. A lot of space to work with compared to some of our other final circles. There's a little bit more room to wiggle around in, and I think Darkbreakers is going to be quite happy about that reality.
I'll tell you what, man, Darkbreakers is living his dream of being a living AC-130 in the air, as he's just looking for the lineup on these boulders. It's not going to find any big boulders just yet. It looks like he's going to be waiting for the very, very late game to make that happen. But T-Foul on Conduit making a great job, or doing a great job rather, of just pressuring his opponent. It's going to be too much pressure for Wolf. He will get popped. And that is just one member remaining for Team Win Goes Burr. Ashen Frost is going to be the last one remaining, and he will find a nice disruption onto Death. So they are just searching for this last little member here. T-Foul doing a great job on Stone Shaper. 4 exiles already, not even in the complete late game yet, so we'll see how that develops. But doing a great job as Team Untiered. Can this boulder connect? Oh, that's very, very close. Nice maneuvering by the opponent there. Still looking for Ashen Frost, but keep in mind that Chris and Wolf are not completely thirsted yet. So there's opportunity. What? Oh my goodness! Can we call that an avalanche? My goodness, what a hitbox going all the way down that mountain. That took me off guard.
Yeah, that went all the way down, and he hit it on the backside too. T-Fel dropping a sly 100 damage onto that poor player from below. T-Fel, though, still sitting up on the side. This is a very great cliff to use those stone shockwaves, and you just saw an example of it. T-Fel dropping with that spring step, keeping his feet moving. Also, remember, ladies and gentlemen, that Elpadog is rocking the Frostborn. This is a decent spot for him to play a Frostborn final circle. He can find a high ground, shoot some big damage. All that matters is, can he land the snipes themselves? T-Fel is looking to hit some hard air shots from deep with the fire. Elpadog does get a disrupt onto blank, so that should answer your question about can he hit the shots. 12 people remaining though. T-Fel is in a bit of a pressure situation. He might get collapsed on. He's not quite linked up with the rest of his team, but nonetheless, Elpadog is going to come give him a little bit of moral support, throwing down those shockwaves. Doesn't get it to go, but he gets actually hit hard on the backside. It looked like a frost snipe that came his way, but T-Fel just says, forget about it. It's my time to deal the damage. Doesn't get those shockwaves to go, but he's just going to keep on pressing forward. Firewall is almost up off cooldown. He can use that to his advantage here. One more tick will do it, but Kamsky takes it right in front of him. KQZ will fall, and UT is looking to clean up this game 7.
Oh my goodness, give this man a broom. Absolutely sweeping through here and also landscaping his front yard a little bit on that Stone Shaper class. Now it's just 2 enemies remaining. This is one of them just floating up here. Darkbreakers is down, so this is a completely different opponent. We'll have to see who it is whenever we get the exiles off. It looks like Gigabyte will go ahead and disrupt Elpa in the kill feed though, so this might be Gigabyte that we're looking at here. Not sure if he has another teammate floating around. T-Fel keeping an eye out for it, but it's just nothing happening. What a nice fireball by T-Fel though. That's going to be game 7, Team UT back on top in first place.
Very satisfying final fireball right there. Couldn't have asked for a more satisfying end. T-Fel landing one right into Gigabyte as he flies towards him. UT with a convincing Game 7 W, and that is going to be very impactful on the scoreboard right there. I believe they were already holding first place, and after a game like that, it's going to be hard to challenge them, OSK.
Definitely, it's going to be very, very difficult indeed. But we cannot discredit Team IMQT nor Team Team G3 didn't really have that great of a showing in game number 7. But keep in mind, we are still only taking the best 6 out of the 8 games. So this is definitely a game that they can throw away. We'll have to see if their scores are enough to keep them in the running for first place. We did go into this game with a very, very tight top 3. I believe that they were all within about 100 points of each other. So we'll have to see how that shifts. UT at this point is just trying to min-max their score, as again, one game is automatically getting dropped. So we'll have to see how close these things are really going to be. But definitely still in the running is G3 and IMQT. So keep in mind that as we go forward, this is going to be a very, very close game 8. If anyone pops off of these top 3, they might just take the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if UT as well can come through, like you said, and just pop off, it's over, ladies and gentlemen. But there is chances for that to be flipped. I mean, G3 is still in the running if they can have a big performance. What really matters, though, is can somebody manage to knock UT out early in this game 8? We have one game left to determine the finals of this Element Trio tournament. Over a month of qualifiers have led up to this moment. Can somebody just grab it by the horns and turn it into their advantage? Can we see a major flip here, or is UT just going to continue their dominance of the competitive Spellbreak scene? It is all up on the line for this next match, and I cannot wait to get into game.
Yeah, me either, man. This is going to be a huge performance coming out from them. As we can see, as the scores are being finalized here, they ended that game with 15 exiles and over 3,000 damage with a first place finish. Easily the most amount of points that we've had so far today. And they're on their off server. It seems like they are just getting better and better as the day goes on, minus, I think, game 5 or game 6. But my goodness, this is a force to be reckoned with. And we came into this event, like I said earlier, a lot of people thought that this squad was untouchable. It's proving to be a lot closer than what we initially thought it would be. But so far, I do believe that they are still in the front running to take this whole thing. There needs to be a giant performance coming out from IMQT or G3 to take this whole thing. Of course, not to take away from any of the other squads that are in here. This is indeed the finals. These are the top 10 teams that have made it through 8 qualifiers to come out and just give us the best show that we could ask for here. So really just good job all around. Whatever you finish up with, this is all just peak Spellbreak gameplay. It's always great to watch.
And of course, we also got to give a huge thank you to everybody in chat today and through
Of
all of
course.
these qualifying events. We have had such a vibrant community come out and support all of these different gameplay. I mean, all these different games, all these different tournaments. We really owe it to all of you guys at home watching us. Hope everybody's doing great. We got one more game coming your way. I know it'll entertain. I know it'll wrap up a great event with a great final match. We're just getting word that we are dropping in. And OSK, I am more than ready to see game 8 out of 8 right off the start. We got Millsy with the noodles trying to hit that 10 damage. Moktola 1 is literally at 1 HP. He will get disrupted, but now Millsy's just following it up. That noodle is just trying to connect here. Oh, player 2 does get caught on the very edge of that shockwave. The question is, can Team Thunder Thighs roll back and pick up Moktola? Are they dealing enough pressure onto Doc to stop that res? All we know that player 2 did just get that full exile. We'll see if Thunder Thighs can make the push, and yet another member of G3 will fall, it looks like, to this hold down of the S key. It is chaos going down, and that is tragic for the final scores.
Man, I don't know if you can see my face through this camera over here, but man, that has got to be so painful for Team G3. Hopefully their score will be enough to carry them to their third place finish that it seems that they did have going into game 8. So hopefully they'll still be in the money, but man, it really hurts to see them go out so early on in game number 8. But enough about that. We'll have to see how these other teams are doing. That's a great pickup from Team Thunder Thighs. Currently in 10th place, but proving, hey, that we can still hang with the best of them. They did get a nice drop onto that early Bogmore area. So great job, great pickup to take out G3, one of our front runners. Absolutely fantastic job. Now we're gonna looks like observe Team Seaside here, who's really been picking up the pace coming into the EU side of things. So always great to see them perform to the best of their ability out here. And look at this. This is that Stone Shaper Spellslinger build that we saw very, very early on. Looks like Blindside giving it a try here. He has the fire in the pocket and the frost for the long range engagements. Going to be very, very useful going into these final circle situations where you can just pick people off from your dominant position.
Yeah, for sure. And we know Blindside is capable of it. I've been really impressed with Seaside so far today. Some people may have not exactly known this team coming into the event. They may have been the dark horse sliding in here, but they've really shown up to play today, exemplifying their mechanics, their teamwork and coordination in these games. It's been beautiful to watch. But as we see them just bounce around this castle, not much happening. Lots of teams taking a slower start in game 8. 32 people still left here. I know Blindside must be happy about that legendary belt, but the question is, can he get enough loot on his stone, on his Ether off gauntlet to build himself up for a final circle scrap? We almost can confirm that this final circle is going to be one of the most packed. A lot of these teams are going to be playing safe, looking for their final opportunity to make a play in the tournament. You see Marcus, aka Apostle, turning that around right there, getting a kill. Now we look at Phoenix playing on the Stone Shaper, seeing his teammate Rush Frog pushing up on the far flank, hitting a nice shockwave for 44. Phoenix now using that dash movement, not quite getting the second shockwave to go, or the third, looking for that frost, getting the top of it, but not connecting, just barely. And we see Marcus, aka Apostle, squad wiping as we watch Phoenix Hulk smash down on Doc. And this looks like Team Haunt might be able to clean up a crucial wipe here.
Yeah, it looks like the wipe is exactly what they're going for here, and that will be Team Thunder Thighs going to go out. They've proven that they can take down one top team, but it looks like 2 is going to be too much. This is Haunt going to take that over here. Actually, just 1 place ahead of them in 9th place, so definitely a close one to be had there. Definitely having to heal up quite a bit is Team Haunt, but that's going to be the end of Team Thunder Thighs, and they're looking pretty good on the southern side of Halcyon here. Plenty of loot. Look at all this, all the purple. They have plenty of great gauntlets and runes. They're feeling pretty good about this one going in.
Yeah, I mean, they must be feeling good about it. We see Phoenix on the Stone Shaper, which I'm personally not quite used to seeing Phoenix play, but I definitely know he has the talent to pull it out. We'll see if they can turn this on the rest of the game. 26 people left in the lobby, so the lobby is thinning out actually faster than I would have imagined in a Game 8 situation. Looks like a lot of these teams have decided that they must play aggressive to start us off. Team UT picking up a kill in the kill feed as you see Tfal on Conduit taking down PPL 95. Nice little start there as it seems like we're going to jump around and try to find some action. Mid-game lull might start to be setting in place, but we see Haunt has spotted a team out at far distance. UT is also making a really long rotation across the map here after picking up that kill.
Yeah, and still keeping the same team comp that as they had in Game 7, and why not? It worked out pretty well for them. The best game that they've ever had today, getting 15 exiles over 3,000 damage first place finish. It looks like this might be their new, kind of their new shtick as they go into the competitive spell break. We'll have to see. But in any case, doing a good job of holding down their position here towards the Stone Tooth Mountain area. Not going to get any damage off of that boulder there as the enemy team. But here we have Elpadog just laying out the nice little pathing for his team. Going to rotate off very, very quickly. Looks like they're heading towards the southern side of this map. I think it might even be a Bogmore circle. We'll have to see what exactly that is here later on. But for right now, not really looking to engage. Meanwhile, in the kill feed, we are going to see Wind Goes Bird take out a random team. So that will be a nice 3 exiles being funneled into their score. Hopefully they can finish off in the top 5 from where they currently are. But for right now, we're going to keep an eye on to Team IMQT as they are just rotating through the western side of Halcyon. And look at that damage coming out from Marcus. Just needs to land one more. Going to time out the Tundra right there. Lay out a little bit of Flash Freeze. That's going to be a frozen opponent. Can he follow up? It will. So that will be a nice Dragonfire chip damage, but nothing as far as exiles goes. He might have just overextended, though. This is looking very bad for Marcus. Thankfully, his team is there to back him up to get a quick reset.
Yeah, Darkbreakers came in on the wing, just helping out Marcus as he took a lot of entrance damage. Beautiful play from the team to cover each other's bases. At the same time, though, Next gets a disrupt onto Rush Frog and Phoenix, so we know that Team Haunt must be somewhere scrapping. We can see from Marcus's perspective that his teammate Darkbreakers wants to get aggressive here. That is the end of Team Haunt as Syncade wipes out Death SB. We see the rest of these lobbies fall together. Darkbreakers does get the disrupt on the Ashen Frost, but he falls right after. And now we see Marcus just trying to make a decisive choice. He goes for the res, actually. Risky choice considering how open map he is, but he goes for it, sticks the plant, and now is going to look to deal out a bit of damage. Gets it caught on the side of the rock, unfortunately enough. He still must be happy with the fact that Darkbreakers was able to get picked up. That could have been a monumental change to the game if Darkbreakers did get the full exile. And we see he actually does hold down the key onto Ashen Frost as well, so maybe doing a little bit of karma or a little bit of return damage to the person who downed him. Marcus just barely missing the highlight reel snipe. And for anybody who's maybe not checking the scores quite actively, IMQT is in the best position to contest UT for first place. If IMQT can have a very good game right now as we're watching them, they might be able to sneak home a first place finish. But it's all going to come down to Darkbreakers, Kuzi, and Marcus's gameplay.
If there's anything to be said about the amount of exiles that they have so far, they're definitely at a good pace to take it away from them. And Marcus, like you said, I was actually about to call it out for the highlight reel, beat me to it. So good job on that, my friend. But in any case, we have team next to Lineade. Oh, just barely going to miss the colliding boulders. That would have been a cool shot. But in any case, Porcelino saying, I'm here to win. I'm not here to get clips. So we're just going to fire off these fireballs, and hopefully one of them lands. Now they're going to be rotating off towards the western side of the map here, trying to take over this tower, trying to beat the other team to it. And it's looking like it will work out well for them. Next is taking the charge here. Borsalino right behind him, trying to just min-max the loot a little bit, maybe looking for an epic stone. But for right now, looks like they're going to rotate off from the tower. Maybe they'll take up this mountain here to the southern side, and hopefully get a nice position to sort of overlook this Hemwood area, more the northern side of Hemwood. So we'll have to see how the rotations head out, but that would be the ideal position, I would think.
Yeah, they're actually going to, though, take Syncade's Frost Alacrity and push their way towards the Halcyon area. Really interesting variation on the rotation that we were expecting. We'll see if it pays off for them, as they are just making some quick decisions. Cam is at 1 HP now, looking to fight off with the rest of his team. 18 people left in the game, so there is a lot of action to be had in this final match. We are watching Team KW perspective as Cam is 1 HP, aka Cam Sucks, dodging out of these fireballs coming in from a far distance, doing what he can to break line of sight. Hits a nice 64 though. Cam is now just going to go for some aggressive play, waiting for somebody to come to him, spotting out this other player, throwing out the fireballs. Doesn't quite get it to go. KW is doing a really good job of kiting backwards, not overcommitting, and still dishing out damage where they can find windows of opportunity.
Yeah, and they do a really good job of disguising their movement with the zone, too. We've seen this multiple times from them today, where they'll go out of the zone, they'll use the blinding effect that the Spellstorm has, and they'll actually just completely rotate and enter on almost the opposite side, and it looks like that's what they're doing right now. They're a master of this. They do this every single time almost every single time we watch them in the mid game. So always it's a good plan if you're going into, let's say, maybe some of your solo queue games, to pick up this sort of strategy if you're in a tough spot. If you're not in the best position, you can always go outside of the spell storm and reposition completely while the enemy team is unaware of your position itself. Especially if you see an Ice Lance coming out of the spell storm, you're like, where did that come from? It's got to be within the storm. No, it's actually someone just camping the outside. So interesting strategy, but one that's very effective. Now it looks like they've been found out, though. Cam is going to eat a nice little fireball and a lot of dragon fire. Ran through a lot of fire puddles that were ignited with dragon fire. Going to have to get out of there in a hurry. Unfortunate for him to find himself on that position, but it looks like he will have a little bit of time to heal up. Unfortunately, Blank will not have that luxury as he is being thirsted right now. Let's see if Cam can get it, and it will not, but Blank is okay. There will not be a thirst. They have fended it off for now.
And Gigabyte also got a disrupt onto Darkbreaker, so this is not all going poorly for Team KW. It actually really flipped in their favor. For a half second, I thought Cam's missed snipe would cost their teammate his life, but as you said, somebody else managed to come up and clean up. Gigabyte holding onto his team's back. We see Cam is 1 HP, trying to do what he can here on the backside, throwing out damage onto an unarmored target. You would have expected him to maybe push a bit harder into that fight, but deciding that his teammate's positioning is more important than possibly thirsting that exile. 12 people left, so you have to assume that it's 4 teams of 3, but we see the snipes coming out. 84 from Cam is 1 HP. He takes a fireball for his troubles, but still, that shot connected, and it did big damage onto Elpadog. I believe that was Elpadog coming from Team UT based on his skin and gauntlet orientation, but now we see Cam is 1 HP, still doing what he can to dodge damage. He's doing a really fantastic job of dodging out line of sight, but it looks like it's not going to be enough now. They're pushed all the way to the backside. There's nowhere for Team KW to go except for forward, and OSK, they're going to have to fight this one out.
Yeah, definitely, but they do have a good position that Cam just gave up. Oh no, Next gonna go ahead and find his easy target right there. They gave up the mountain, which was a dominant position going into this next zone, but Next is just saying, hey, you make a mistake and I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage of it. Now Cam is at the bottom of this valley. That's his orb right there to the right-hand side of your screen. It's gonna be very difficult for Team KW to make that up, and that's gonna be Sincade taking out another member of Team KW. Now it is just Gigabyte yet again. Maybe he'll make it into the late game, maybe not, but we'll have to see some more flight shenanigans to see if he actually pulls this one out. So far, next to Linade doing a great job of pushing their advantage here, taking control of this mountain, and this is exactly what they need to do if they want to get into a better position in the scores.
Yeah, they do need to make some big plays here. Borsellino does spot out this entire team rotating on the Frost Alacrity. He is going to make his push now. Throws out the fireball, but doesn't quite get it to go. It was a bit of a prayer to throw that one out. Borsellino, though, does get this angle for the boulder. That looks promising. He connects onto one target, breaks his armor. Borsellino and his team are pretty much full HP, full armor as well. They are in a dominant position to look to take this game right now. Next to Lincade, looking forward as K Kuzi takes down Darkbreakers and Kansky on Pyro. That is massive for Team I Am a QT if they can try to flip this game on its head. But still, we are watching Borsellino move his way up. Gigabyte does go down to Sincade at the same time that Not Blank's kill gets credited to Sincade as well. He is having a pop-off on the Frostborn, but now we see the chaos that is going on in UT section. T-Fel connects over the top of the body to finish off a kill, but it looks like he might go down here. Drops down for the shockwave. Dodges out of the way of multiple shots, but it's not quite enough. Too many targets are following and he will fall. As we wait for this loading screen to please get out of the way, we see a 3v3 clean to decide game 8 OSK.
Oh my goodness, that was an unfortunate team kill, by the way, from QQZ onto Darkbreakers, but it looks like they rezzed him back up, and he is going to go ahead and be a force in this last little engagement. Unfortunately, Mark is going to go down. That's going to be QQZ, so it is just Darkbreakers left, and it looks like Next to Linade will clean this up very, very easily. I say that, but he's not dead yet. Where is he? Where could he be? Is he above? Where is he? To the left? Is he right? He is! He flies up, but Next has the lightning. This should be an easy exile if he can just land the lightning bolts. Forever waiting for lightning bolts. Just needs a little bit more. Man, Darkbreakers is doing a great job of surviving, but Sincade will find him out. That will be the final game. That's Next to Linade finally getting a win today. And that's going to be the end of the Element Fusion Finals.
What a set of games we just watched, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have to wait a little bit longer for the scores to get counted. Then we will pull them up on stream and we can declare a winner. I do think this one will come down to it though, because we saw I'm a QT in the final zone. Darkbreakers was doing a lot of damage, as well as QZ picked up, I think, 3 or 4 exiles apiece in that final circle. So this could really come down to the wire, OSK. We're not 100% sure over who took this one.
Yeah, definitely. And as we're getting these scores all together, you can always hit exclamation scores to get a bit of a head start before we pull them up for you here. Go ahead, excuse me, go ahead and type that into chat and see where everyone is standing currently. I am QT, definitely a good way to finish off the finish off the day here. Apparently I have some hiccups. Um, but they really did have a good day overall here. They won first, I believe, was it 3 times? No, it was 2. They've won first 2 times, but they've been very consistent in their performances coming in as far as placement. And Darkbreaker's having some great games individually for his team to get some exiles and some damage. Will it be enough to overtake UT, though? That is the question. I do not know.
Yeah, 100%. We will have to wait for the math to come out there. But I got to say that next to Lincade looked dominant in that final game. I saw Sincade pick off multiple players from deep with that Frostborn selection. Borsalino always doing a great job of sitting at the front line and disrupting all sorts of damage onto other teams. Beautiful performance from them to wrap up the final game of the day. As we said, we're just giving our score counters a little bit longer to double check, make sure everything is good. When it comes down to the wire like this, you got to make sure you carry all the numbers, get all your math right before we announce a winner. So just to recall for anybody who may be newer to the stream, $750 will go to the first place finish, $500 goes to the second place finish team, and $250 goes to the third place. So as we read out the scores, that is what is on the line.
Absolutely. It's going to be a very, very close finish as the scores are updating. I'm already seeing a lot of close scores coming out. So, man, what a great event. First of all, what a great event for everyone to come out to, and for everyone to just see what peak Spellbreak is all about. You're seeing all these strategies come out between your team comp, between your rotations, and between all the different ways you can play one particular situation. It's really amazing how these teams can adapt. And I believe that we've had quite a showing here today, that this is probably the best spell break that you'll ever see. If you're new to this, if you're looking to get into the game, this is how it is meant to be played. And it's also ever evolving, as we will get into the new patch here in about a week and a half. It's going to be really exciting how things change. And I can't wait for the future to come.
Yeah, we'll see if recovery still has such a big presence in the game after December 15th. All sorts of other things to make out, and see if Pyro is still a huge presence in competitive. We have all sorts of big changes coming to the game. But before we get into that, we got to keep on what is current. And that was today's event. Tons of big wins coming out. I believe I'm QT won 2 games. Next to Lincade won 2 games as well to their name. So it was a very well spread out tournament in terms of scores. There was nobody running away with it, which is always nice to see in terms of the competitive aspect. And we just got to wait a little bit longer to really award this money, OSK. I can't wait to start giving it out.
Man, I love giving out money. It's always great, and I love giving it out to people who really deserve it, who really put on a show today. It's always really nice. And guys, speaking of money, if you would like to be a part of this little production here, if you'd like to give even just a little bit, we do have a donation button down below, so you can get on down there, get your name up in lights, as I do love saying right here, that little bar streaming across right there. Get your name up in there. 70% of what you donate goes directly to the prize pools, and 30% goes towards the production value that you can see here, including paying of our staff, better production screens, better graphics, all the juice. So go ahead and give what you can, and if you don't want to, maybe next time. So, but we are getting these scores very, very soon. They're being double checked, making sure that before we hand out the money, that we do have our scores on the money. So let's talk a little bit about what we saw here today. We saw UT have a very, very consistent showing, minus I think 1 game, but that one's dropped anyway. They're doing a really good job of holding these power positions, and it's like I was talking with Mana Class the other day on Thursday scrims. It's getting to the point where these players have their mechanics down to a point where they don't even have to think about it anymore. They can just completely devote all of that brain power to whatever strategy they want to do. And it's almost like, if I want to do something, it's going to happen. It's a foregone conclusion because my hand just knows where to flick. I know how to direct my movement in such a way to sweep in, get this lower ground taken care of, and then rotate back up to my team. So it's really just a testament to how great these guys are at the game.
I mean, a great example of the point you just raised was Darkbreaker's 1v3 play, and I believe game 3. You really see just how integrated the mechanics are with these players' movements. Like you said, they don't even have to think about it. Darkbreakers is playing max range Stone Shaper. He's jumping through crevices and playing angles, and it looks just so fluid to him. But as you guys know from playing the game, it's not exactly easy to be whipping out plays like that consistently. So credit to everybody who showed up to play today. I also want to bring up Seaside again one more time because I feel like we haven't talked about them enough today. And I really was very, very happily surprised with how they came out. You know, Casper and Cursed had some fantastic matches. It didn't result in a final top 3 finish, I don't believe, but still, we have to give them credit for showing up and showing out.
Yeah, definitely, definitely a better job on the EU side of things than the NA. They really came out and showed what they're made of here, taking some of our top teams down as well that were in the front running. And as we're talking here, we do have these final scores. They are currently being typed up, so it'll be very, very shortly that we'll get these out for you on the big screen. If you'd like to get a head start, though, you can always hit exclamation scores, get your head start on those on that scoreboard. We'll go ahead and get all these scores finalized for you and then show them all up right here and just really find out who's going to take home that beautiful prize pool. Of course, again, thanks to the Proletariat Inc. team. They did a great job sponsoring this event, really just helping us get this event out for you guys. And it's always nice to have that kind of support going in. So we'll be getting these scores up very, very shortly. And man, was it a close one.
Yeah, definitely a close one for sure. And it's, as you said, huge credit to Proletariat for providing us with this prize pool to give away, to have such exciting games, to have them mean so much in terms of cash prize. We owe it to Proletariat for their sponsorship of the event. Massive credit to them, and also for developing this beautiful game that we all love, right, ladies and gentlemen? We are just waiting a little bit longer now. Scores are almost finalized. As OSK mentioned, we really have to make sure everything is double checked, go through the math twice, because we cannot make a mistake on giving out this type of money.
No, definitely not. Especially as it's the biggest prize pool that Element's ever given out, of course. Oh man, so before we get up these scores, I do want to give some special thanks to some of our people behind the scene. We do have Dr. Nutt currently typing out the scores right now. He's the main cameraman, the main observer, and also the one who's streaming this directly to your eyeballs. So thank you to Dr. Nutt, as well as Strofo, our other observer. Always great. Of course, a big thanks to Thunderson, Zen, and all the rest of our graphics team. There's so many to name that I could spend a lot of time on, but we do have our scores all finalized. So without further ado, let's get them up on the score, figure out who won, who's going to take home that $750, the $500 and the $250, $1,500 total. And it's going to be Untiered with a score of 2,794.
What a spread of scores right there. So Untiered in first place, as you guys can see. IMQT takes home that second place, and G3 finishes third. They beat out Next to Lineade by only about 70 points to take home that last bit of cash prize. Such a close finish for them, and I know G3 must be happy with that result. You can almost count that third place finish on the pop-off that Chaos had in Game 5, where he was just struggling for his life, dropping as much damage as he could before going down. You can almost assume that that might have pushed them into the third place finish. So it's moments like that that are defining for competitive Spellbreak. What a set of events. I mean, what a set of games. And OSK, break down these final scores a little bit more for me.
Man, I could break them down all day. I really want to give special, and I mean special commendations to Team IMQT. That was a team that I did not expect at all to finish as high as they did. Not that I thought that they were like, below par or anything, but it just surprised me. Just given the qualifier that they were in, given the score that they had, it's really just a great team effort all around from Marcus, QQZ, and Darkbreakers to really just, disrupt my my expectations there, to really just go beyond what I thought was possible for them. And really just a special individual commendation to Darkbreakers. He really was doing a great job. If you look at these scores, if you look at what his positions are throughout all of these games, minus game 3 where Marcus had a big pop off with all the exiles here, did a great job of just carrying his team to that second place finish. So very, very individually good job, and a great team effort all around as well to enable him to have the kind of pop-up performance that he had. Of course, We do have G3 as well. Didn't have the best last 2 games, but proven that they were a force to be reckoned with on their earlier games to really just hammer down their score, get to that point where you have such a big cushion where you don't even have to worry about your score to the end there. Of course, really just a great effort to all of these teams that came out here. This is the absolute toughest lobby that we could put together in terms of the player caliber, in terms of the difficulty. It's just really a testament to how well everyone did all around that they're
Yeah.
able to have scores that they did.
Pulling up one more sheet of stats for you guys to see a little bit more of an in-depth breakdown of how everything lined up. You can see the highest damage in a single game. You can see all sorts of other little details that you might want to check out. But it looks like Untiered took home most of those major statistic groups. That really explains the reason why they may have come out on first. We saw their gameplay. We saw the way that they were rotating through the map. They played really coordinated Spellbreak. And when you have 3 players as talented as those 3, all playing on the same page, it is a threat to anybody else trying to contest them. So massive congratulations to UT for taking first place, and to everybody else who came out and played today. As you can see on the stats, it was quite a nail biter, OSK.
Yeah, definitely. It was probably the most nail biter final I could have asked for, to be honest. It was a lot closer. Now, you might look at these top 5 finishes, especially the top 3, and say, "Oh, Untiered won by exactly 350 points." But that really doesn't tell the whole story. It was really a struggle all throughout. There's so many opportunities where teams could have completely exiled T-File, for example, in game 2, or Elpa dying early could have been disastrous for them, as well as Kamsky. Like, there's so many different ways that this could have gone wrong for them. But as a team, they really did a good job of recovering from all these bad situations and really pushing their advantages whenever they had them. So just a great job all around. Here's another view for you guys who like colors and pie charts. Just another way to break down this team damage for you. As you can see, the big blue is going to be Untiered, taking 18.7% of the total team damage for today. Just a little bit under a fifth, and you can see the rest of the stats as they are shown here. And of course, just great job all around to all these teams. Again, I mean, there were some great individual performances, great team performances, and I could be here all day.
Yeah, seriously, I could be breaking down these scores all day. You are right about that one. 8 games, all of which came down to some beautiful finishes. We saw some 1v1s in the trio as it came down to the final fight. So you can't ask for more in a competitive event on Spellbreak. We couldn't ask for a better community to have our back and to support us through these events. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, everybody in chat, everybody in the Discord, coming through and showing some love today. That will wrap up this event. The Element Trios tournament is over. Ladies and gentlemen, please join the Element Discord to see the events coming up in December. We have a nice charity event coming up for Extra Life, I believe is the associated charity. So that's going to be really exciting, trying to give back as much as we can, trying to bring the community together for something great. And OSK, anything to send us off with?
Man, I'll tell you what, you'll better be out here, because it looks like on Monday we're going to have some Clash scrims, a little bit different than what we normally put on. But hey, if you like Clash, you like to be against the best in the game like we saw today, you better come on out. Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard will be your EU scrims. And then for NA, it will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, as well as we go forward. The next Battle Royale scrims will be on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those will be streamed. So if you think you're good enough to hang with the best of them here, get yourself on the camera. Come prove it to us. Come out here. But anyway, that's going to do it for the most part for us here. Thank you, everyone who watched. Thank you, everyone who competed. And again, special thanks to Proletariat for providing the prize pool, as well as a big thank you to all of our staff here who made all of this possible. So thank you guys for being interested. Y'all have a fantastic night, and we will see you on Monday.
I would like to just name drop 2 people, though, from Element who have done so much work for this Element Fusion tournament, and that is Jovan and Nikolai. They are the 2 gentlemen in charge of the graphics and transitions. They put in a crazy amount of work for Element. We have to give them the shout out that they deserve. And with that, I think that is adieu. That is the end of a fantastic set of events. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for your support. It really means the most to us. We love putting these on for you guys. Really makes a difference that you guys enjoy them as well. So make sure you're joining the Element Discord. Make sure you're interacting with the community if you feel you want to. And with that, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week as well.